What's up, everyone? Make sure you check out the West Network website at westwestnet.com. Here you can find amazing independent podcasts based in Aotearoa, covering everything from pop culture to mental health. Also, if you enjoy our content and want to support us, please consider clicking on the support button on the homepage of the website. We appreciate your patronage and look forward to delivering more thought-provoking and quality conversations.
West, y'all.
Guys, take a photo of me and Eka. Say mo lang nga. Say to boy me ka kamay on Eka like oh.
Oh, do you want this angle?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like high up a bit.
Right.
How's it?
How's it feel? How's it feel to be on the podcast, guys?
Oh man.
Ladies?
Oh, it feels nice and relaxing.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is my first time.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about like podcasts. Like there should be more in Samoa. I reckon. I think there's a lot of people in Samoa that can have a nice conversation, funny conversation too. It's like you can have a comedic one, like you can have like politics one. I don't know about politics because it's like
it's a
the
bit
one
of a touchy subject. Yeah.
someone might get thrown out of the country if they say something wrong. I think.
Say something wrong, Nick Minute.
But yeah, welcome to back on the 135.
Oh, thanks for having us, Cams.
So you guys came from Samoa. When did you guys fly in?
Last week Sunday.
The week before Sunday, not Sunday.
Not Sunday.
Yeah,
Just
the week before Sunday.
the week before.
And when did the borders open? That month.
No, the borders officially open on August the 1st to everybody. But we were on one of those flights. Like, I think they had up until the 22nd of May, just last week. Wait, what's the day? 24th. Okay, so this week, as of 22nd of May, they opened borders up, which meant there were more flights added, but mainly
Every
to
week.
Samoan citizens. Yeah.
Like once a week flight from the 22nd, once a week, but to the Samoan, to our Samoan citizens.
Yeah.
Like either have a Samoan passport or a New
foreign
Zealand
passports.
passport with the exemption stamp.
Oh, that was 21st, you said?
On the
22nd.
22nd.
Oh, 22nd. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so we managed to get on the flight coming out. So it was a little bit easier coming to New Zealand. It's
Yeah.
just coming back is where there's such a big
right.
backlog of
Right.
people trying to get back home. And so, yeah, we were lucky. Like when we left, the first flight that we could get back is on the 5th of June. And even then we had to apply through MFAT.
MFAT.
MFAT. What's that?
Like Ministry of Foreign
Affairs.
Oh,
Affairs.
okay. Yeah.
And so, like, literally, you had to email them and give them a good reason why you need to be on that flight. And then if they approve it, they get you on the list.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can apply it. You couldn't even, like,
You can't even say that
go to
I'm
the
just
travel
going
agent.
going for a holiday.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you have to have a
A
good
valid reason.
valid reason to
Like family or
like medical checkup
Oh, okay.
or like
Business.
business. Yeah.
no family.
Yeah, family, but
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of, like, why are you going to see family? I'm like, because our mom is, like, old, haven't seen her for
Alright.
3 years, things like that. Or, yeah, I guess. And so it just so happened to be that when we got here, everything opened up. So she was still waiting for confirmation if she was on the flight. I got on the flight back for June 5th.
She got approval, and I just happened to apply on the week that I was coming. So when I came to New Zealand, I hadn't been approved for the fifth flight, but that's the first available flight out from Auckland to Apia.
Oh,
So I was still waiting for my approval to come through, and then next minute we hear that
It's opened up.
yeah, they opened up. So because we couldn't apply, we couldn't book through Air New Zealand. The list had to come from MFAT to allow to be booked. So I was waiting for my name to come, and then next minute they say, "Oh, it's open up," and then straight away book. So anyone can go to Samoa, like not anyone, but just as long as you're a Samoan citizen, and you or you have a New Zealand passport exemption. I think that's how it.
Until the 1st of August, and boom, everything is open.
so
Yeah.
everyone from Australia, everyone around the world
Yeah,
can come. in,
everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they're like fully trying to open everything up by then, which is
And
a
it's
bit
really
scary.
It's scary, but I think
How come it's scary? Like, don't people, businesses want tourists to come back?
Absolutely, and I think that's the reason why they've decided to go ahead and open. But I think the issue is Samoa, being Samoa, like whether we have the capacity to handle medical, issues. Our hospital we just don't have the capacity to handle in big volumes, like people getting sick.
in case.
And so, like right now in Samoa, we only have the Omicron, and which is, the last time I checked, I don't know about like since 3 or 3 weeks ago, the death toll was up to 23. But I think it's higher now, and I think the reason why it's scary is because there's new variants that come through. Like we haven't had the Delta strain and all these other stuff, and so like opening up the borders means that all these other variants can possibly come to Samoa, and then damn, what happens after that? Like in case it gets it, it's so small that like, it's just like everyone. I don't know. I think that's the scary part about it. Benefits is that we can now sort of try and live a semi-normal life. I mean, this is our new norm, right? Yeah. And like, I guess it's also scary in terms of the whole world has already had the
Living with
practice.
COVID.
They've been there doing this, like, the whole world has had 2 years to kind of adjust and get to where we are now. And Samoa's trying to do it all in like this short span of time. And so I think that's why it's a bit scary. It's like, damn, if that comes to Samoa, everybody's going to be trying to gap it overseas to try and get medical treatment, because it's like, there's things that they can do at our hospital, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows in Samoa that they were limited of what they can do. And so like, that's the scary part about it.
Yeah, but we come here to New Zealand, it's like so different because I've been like, same for my families and stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, did you get the COVID? Or like, yeah, I got the COVID. And I got COVID like probably a month or two
when it happened.
Yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, like, oh, so when we go out, we're like, oh, do we have to wear a mask? And then like, oh, you know what? So we're kind of like so over it. Like, I'm COVID right now here in New Zealand. I don't know if to everyone, but they're like, oh yeah, it's like COVID over here. It's like just a normal flu. Like, you just make sure you have to be careful. Like, take the normal precautions of, if you get a flu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like back in the days when they're like, COVID is like, like a. I mean, we've heard, from other countries and whatnot, like so many deaths and all that. But now it's not as bad. Like it seems like everything is just slowly opening up. And
yeah, I think the first year here in New Zealand with the COVID, it was like everyone was scared, right?
Yeah.
Didn't want to get it, so there was all these lockdowns. You had to stay home, no one on the streets. So only thing is open in New Zealand were the doctors, supermarkets, and petrol stations, and that was it, right? So everyone had to stay home. This was like for 3-4 weeks the first time, and then we got out of it, and then the following year Omicron came, right? And people were okay, we're gonna go through this all again, like everyone's, but then this one was a bit longer, and people got fed up because they were rolling out the vaccinations.
Yeah.
So which meant everyone's getting vaccinated, so everyone was thinking, okay, we got vaccinated, so we'll be fine, right? We don't have
but
to
that's not the case.
Lockdown.
Yeah.
So lockdown still happened, and then people just getting frustrated, like, when are we gonna get out of here? And like, so the scared part turned into like frustration, and everybody was like, nah, we're over it.
Yeah.
It's
like, bring it on.
Yeah.
Like,
whatever.
COVID, bring it on. Yeah.
So now, like you said, we were right. Like now we're just trying to deal with it now. We can't get rid of it. It's in here. You get it.
Live with it.
Live with it.
Yeah.
Because apparently we all got vaccinated and boosted. It should be enough to not die from it. There's still deaths, but not. It's not gonna be bad. Like you're gonna get COVID, you're gonna get sick really bad, but that's about it. You'll recover and you'll be immune to it. So, but
then that's the thing, because you're not really immune to it because there's so many different strains. And then we hear about this. There's supposed to be like this 3-month safe period, apparently. I don't know if that's the correct term to use, but like after you get it, they say that you're possibly good for 3 months. But then that's not the case, because we're finding people who have got it. Like I know somebody who got it like 5 weeks after of having COVID, they got it again. And the thing is, that's the scary part, is because that there's different variants that you can just keep getting it. Like for example, when you had the measles or once you get it, then that's it. Like you're good. And then with the vax, like it was like, okay, everybody go and get vaxxed. We're going to get vaxxed and we're going to be safe. But then that's not the case either, because you can still carry it. You can still be affected by COVID. And then like it's that issue where am I going to be the case where it's going to be really bad? Like because you never know what it's going to be. And then you feel more relaxed after you've had it because you've been there, done that. And you're like, oh, okay, I managed to get through that. But then there's people who are dying and people who are like truly, really like affected so much or so badly that, you know, you're scared that what if you're going to be that case? Because, you know, it affects your if you have any underlying issues. And a lot of us islanders, like people in Samoa, we don't really go and get regular checkups. We don't have the facilities where like you go and you have all this testing because testing is all done overseas. Yeah. And so that you're it's a guessing game. Like, I mean, and it is scary because you're like, am I going to be that case, you know? And so you try and avoid it as much as possible. And so that's when it gets scary. But like Rena and I both had COVID, and like when we had it, it wasn't necessarily like, we're like, I mean, straight after I was like, I do not want to get COVID again. And it wasn't because of the fact that I got really sick because I didn't, but the being locked in, that
staying at home,
that isolation quarantine period, man, it gets to your head. Like, you know, you literally like, I want to break free. Like, you know, and I guess we were staying home anyway, but the fact that you're not allowed to leave your home and like, you know, that was probably like, that was horrible. And I think that got to a lot of people. And
then, you know, because when we were in Samoa, like we see the news, like people breaking out of quarantine here in New Zealand. We're like, what the hell? Like,
it's so ingo, like, like, oh my gosh, these idiots, you know. And then you
when
get
they
it.
came to Samoa, like, you know, we had the flights coming in Samoa, and then there was this one time that there was this one case that they're like, someone broke out of quarantine to go to the ATM machine.
Yeah.
And everyone was like,
so
OMG, like,
off.
what the, you know, everyone now is going to get COVID.
Like,
dude,
you know? That guy was like going to be crucified. Like everyone was so ingo. And then that's when our quarantine was like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so I can just imagine, like, after we had it, it was like, you know, you start to kind of understand. We're like, man, it really plays with your head too.
Yeah.
Like I do not want to get going because I'm gonna be stuck for like 7 up to 14 days. Like, you know what I mean? And then that's it. And then even then, the after effects.
The after effects, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like, you have COVID and people know you have COVID, and even
they're
like I made sure I was tested negative 3 times before I even I'm like, oh my, okay, world, I'm coming out. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm good. And then you get out, and then you get there, and like everybody's like,
didn't you have
like,
COVID?
Bro, didn't you just have COVID
last week?
and then they're looking at you like, are you sure that, you know, like you're okay?
And then all of a sudden,
how many negative tests do you want?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, we're not allowed to, like, you know, go to like any parties or
no one wants to invite you.
Invite us because we
don't invite those guys because they got COVID.
They just
or they say,
got out of COVID, like, you know.
or they're
those
like,
ones.
or they're like, okay, you guys can come, but we set aside a table for you guys on the side there, so you guys can have your little COVID party on the side, you know, like one of those ones. And like, it's like, man, really? Like, even Rena, like, she was the first one to get COVID. Like, I think she got COVID like the week of, right?
I was one of the first ones because I actually got, when Samoa went into lockdown, Phil came
COVID.
home and he got COVID right the first day, and we thought, he said, you know, Mom, I got a headache, you know, sore body. And I was like, okay, just go shower and then, you know, drink some Panadol, go to sleep. You'll be fine tomorrow. Because we didn't know. Like, we didn't even know. They said there was a lockdown. COVID was in. You know, there's a community case. Next minute, the man, you know, he woke up. He was like, oh, my God. We're like, dude, I think he's got COVID. Next minute, I get COVID. Gochi got COVID. Then we got stuck up. So I was like one of the first ones in our circle to get COVID.
So when was that? Like last year? Or?
No, this was this year. Before
Samoa literally just got COVID like this year, like a couple months ago or 3
months ago.
Yeah,
first
time. Yeah,
first case.
Well, first known case, like recorded case,
Yeah.
recorded, whatever. Yeah.
Because I remember when Samoa first locked down the borders, they were praised over in New Zealand for being the first countries to do that. Like, get there, do it early.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the reason why they did that was because they learned the hard way through
for the
measles.
Yeah.
And so they weren't going to take any risk, and they were like, no, we're locking down. Boom, that's it. And then, I mean, we were grateful because when the rest of the world were like stuck and stranded and, you know, being isolated and having all these issues, you know, that we hear about the toilet paper issues and things like that. Samoa was just normal. Like, we were just living every day as just normal. Like, so we were grateful for that. And I think the only downside was that we weren't able to travel. I mean, but that's not really I mean, that's more of a want. You know, I'm sure there's other people who wanted to do medical checkup or needed to do medical checkup, so that would have been more of a need. But yeah, I mean, I think we were pretty blessed for the past 2 years. And then now it's there, and so you just gotta live with it.
How did Samoa close the borders? Because obviously there'll be some overseas people still overseas trying to get back home. They were just leading them back in, and that was it.
They had repatriation flights,
Yeah.
and then but they not at first. Like it took a lot.
Oh, really?
I know some families.
It was like a long process.
6,
like
7
they made it
months,
really hard.
like trying to get back home.
Mm.
Some people like a year trying to get back
Wow.
home. They couldn't get back home. Like we were saying, I was telling Rena, like on our flight here the week before Sunday, through the glass doors, our arrivals and departure, you could see all the people that were coming, and then we could see people that had been gone for so long. They've been trying to get on the flights, and they finally made it home. And I think it's because they didn't have any flights, and then they started adding in a flight, and I think it was like once a month or something, and then eventually it started to be like 2 flights a week. So every other week would be a flight. Like they would have a passenger flight and then passenger cargo, like that. And so it was because the amount of people that were trying to come back home, it was just impossible to get on. You're like this massive waiting list with literally thousands of people trying to get home. And so I think that was the risk. That's why none of us wanted to travel overseas, because even when they opened flights to go over, we didn't want to go overseas because we knew we wanted to go. We're going to be stuck for like months. It was like a trip that you would take that's going to be indefinite. Like you didn't know when you come back.
And then even if you get onto a flight, then you're quarantined for 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So it just like put everyone off leaving.
So you see over here, they locked down certain parts of New Zealand. So Auckland might be locked down. The rest of New Zealand might be free.
Yeah.
Or a level down, because we had these level 1, level 2. Now we've got this traffic light thing, red light.
It's orange right now, right?
It's orange right now.
So what is that? Like level 1?
It means you just have to wear masks in public transport and supermarkets.
Right.
Public areas.
Yeah.
You can go normal.
And I hear they're not really like taking vax cards. They're not really forcing people to get vaccinated anymore, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They got rid of that
but
a couple of months ago, I think.
And the vax rates for New Zealand, is it like
up in the 90s?
Oh, nice.
Late 90s, 90. I know one of those. Last check was 95 or something like that. But what was the rules over there in Samoa with the lockdown? Like,
dude, we had to like carry our vax cards everywhere
oh,
we go.
so you had
literally had to
like we had
show your vax card
around
like,
your neck.
Yeah,
we
or
had to, because everywhere we went, we had to show it in the store.
You weren't even allowed to enter a shop
even
unless
if we
you
go in the
had your vax.
Yeah.
What about the mask?
We come out.
Yeah, and a
the
mask.
mask. And the mask, and even if we drive down the road, like there's always police blocks.
Like you're in your own car,
and they're checking for your vax card, and you got your mask.
Yeah, and even your mask. Like
and the kids,
that doesn't make
under,
any sense.
The kids under
12, we're not allowed to travel. Period, and we're not allowed to go anywhere.
Well, kids under 12, they
yeah,
stay home.
But like you're in your own car. You're like the only one here, and the police will be calling you like, put on your mask, like and you're like, I come by myself. I'll put it on when I get out of the car. But yeah, it was like that, where they were like, no, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, and then when they did through lockdown, it was like they had what's it called, open periods where like, okay, this is the restriction. You are allowed to travel from 8 a.m. in the morning to 2 p.m. So everything, or like 12, and I think they went to 2. Like you were only allowed to travel that time after 2 p.m. Then shops, everything closed. You got to be indoors, and so you're locked down for the rest of the day.
Also, during that time, shops are open, and then they have to close after a period of time.
Yeah, so they only opened for certain periods, so it was like every other day. Like they would open shops like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and then all the other days was like lockdown. You can't go anywhere. And then gradually they opened up to just the hours, restricted hours, and then after that, from like 2 p.m. everything was closed, and then they extended it to 4 p.m. And then eventually, like, they opened it up, and then we weren't allowed, like, shops were had to close, and people were not allowed to travel, like, drive around anymore from after, like, I think it was, like, 10 p.m. You're not allowed to go anywhere. And so there were roadblocks all over the place. If you got fined if you were caught after 10 p.m. on the road. And then it went to midnight. Oh, no, it went to 11 o'clock. And then I think
we're at 11 now.
Oh, we're still at 11 o'clock.
Oh, so you guys still on some kind of lockdown?
Yeah, but you know what? To be honest, like the first time we had, I mean, we've been learning. We've done like throughout the whole, like we've been learning, because first of all, when we got COVID, I think there was like all these decision making in the government and whatnot. Anyways, when they said lockdown at 6:00, like Tuesday the following week. So everyone stayed home, and then they said open one day. So what happened was when they opened the next, let's
Jam-packed.
say for example they said lockdown until 6th of January, just pretend, right? 6th of January, and then the 7th you're open from 6:00 in the morning to 2:00 p.m. Dude,
Congestion.
everyone just
It was worse.
rushed to the shops, to the banks,
Queues. There was so many queues everywhere. And so it didn't work. Like, it
didn't
made no
work,
sense.
yeah.
It actually spread even more because everybody's going at the one time to do everything.
And you should see the lines,
Yeah.
like at the banks, at the stores, like people. And with the time period that they had given, it wasn't enough time for you to go stand in line, grab your shopping, and
get back out.
Try to get back home in time.
Because you'll be standing in a line for like an hour and a half or something, and then the time runs out, and then you're like, no, I'm getting in that store. I've been standing here for an hour and a half, So it got to the point where police were like, okay, like the reports or whatever. So then that's when they started extending a little bit longer.
Extending, and then they did like open like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like just give people more days, and that way no one's
spread out a little bit more,
like all rushing in one go.
You guys were kind of lucky to not have COVID in the beginning, just lockdown. That was it. You can roam around. I was wondering about the businesses like the resorts that rely on tourism.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like all the money in Samoa, the economy is just recycling itself. Everybody's,
That's exactly what happened.
Except for the tourist money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then what happened was the resorts and hotels, like everywhere. What they did in turn was they became quarantine sites. Oh, yeah. Like I said, so they would like, so they would like, that was guaranteed. Like people were flights were coming in. They had 3 weeks of business, and then they'd get ready for the next flight. So they were full. The capacity was full for most. I would say most, because they needed like pretty much a lot of places to open. But then you had like the bigger hotels who didn't want to open up as quarantine sites. Like for example, the resorts like Tomisina. And then what they did was, they literally had to survive off the locals. So rates were dropped. So many specials went on. And then so it was like filled mainly on the weekends, like just with like, the locals. And it kept them afloat. And I think, and at the end of the day, I don't know if they got any like a subsidy or anything from the government. But I'm pretty sure they're looking forward to opening up.
Yeah, because how long was quarantine at that time for people coming
3
back?
3 weeks.
Man, that's long, eh?
Was it 3 weeks? I thought it was longer.
No, 3 weeks when we first started, I think.
Yeah.
3 weeks it was. Yeah. No, because when we first went into lockdown, and they said we didn't even do a week. I think we did like, I don't know.
No, we did 3 days, and they opened it up.
And we were, what happened? It's like, I don't know, but when I was locked down in 3 days, it's like literally they said 6:00, you're allowed out. It was like 5:45, and I'm inside my car,
ready to go.
Like,
I remember that one. That first one was horrible because they were supposed to make an announcement earlier to say if we were extending or if we were open. And then we were waiting for the announcement, and nothing came. So everyone, 6:00 came,
everyone was
shops
out.
were open, everyone was out. And next minute, all the police are out rounding everybody. Not get back in. And we're extending, and then you have to close down your business, close your shops. So it was, I don't know, it was a lot of, poor planning in that sense. But I think like Rena said, a couple times they learned their lesson, and then started to
learned from
move a little bit better. And so we're just at that stage now. School hasn't. This was the first week that high schools, colleges were open. But not every day. Like you'll have like the senior classes, 12 and 13, they'll come to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They're staggering the years, so they're not having a large, like the whole school on one go, and then so then they have like year 11 and 10 like on Tuesday and Thursday, and then in between people are still on online.
Okay, so they're doing online schooling?
But only for people who can. Majority of the schools, they
don't have laptops.
Yeah, they don't have laptops. They don't have phones. They don't have data. I can't afford to buy data. So, it's definitely challenging, I think, for them. Yeah.
So when you guys return, do you have to go into quarantine?
Nope.
No.
Well,
yeah,
we
we
do,
do.
but self-isolation,
Oh,
7 days at home.
7 days at
Yeah.
home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's better than like staying at a quarantine place for three weeks.
Yeah, I
At
was
least we get to
not-
stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
It's yeah, because I want to talk about the measles thing that
Yeah.
you were covering with you. What's the thing you started?
No, so myself and a group of friends, when measles hit Samoa, I mean, it was one of the most like traumatizing experiences, like or what's the word? Like, I mean, it was a sad time. It was a really sad time because babies, like, it was mainly the babies that were dying. Like, so many, like, it was just every day more and more and more. And anyways, a few days in, we'd see on the news like families that were at the hospitals because they weren't really allowed in. Like, it was all ISIS, and you'd see on the news where like the mother would be on the other side with a child, and then the dad on another side with the child, because once the household got hit, all of the kids, and then you see a grandparent on the other side, and they can't leave. They're not allowed to leave. They weren't able to like get like food or help or some sort of assistance. So just a group of friends formed a group called the Helping Hands. And it was just basically started off as a soup kitchen type of thing where they would just make food and go and then just give people food. People who are waiting outside, families who are literally sleeping outside because their loved ones are inside. They can't go and visit them. Nobody's allowed in. It was kind of, it was isolated. And so, I mean, it was like quarantine everywhere. So it sort of just started from there. And I guess people like got wind of what we were doing, and then so we started people wanting to help. They're like, it just got bigger and bigger because people were like, oh my gosh, we want to help out. What can we do? We want to send some money. And then it got to the point where, because we were cooking every single day, like, and I'm talking about, we were feeding like hundreds of people. Like, we were feeding the security guards, the nurses, the doctors, like everyone, because they couldn't even leave, like they weren't able to leave. And so it just got to the point where I was thinking, okay, shoot, we're now needing some help, like real help. We need like funds. So I started a Facebook page, and then would just post up like the work that we were doing, and then it just went overseas, and then everybody from there was like, the outpour of donations. It was so good. Like, everybody was trying to help out. And so, it just went from there. We were able to help, like, for the whole period of time. We were able to help, like, I reckon literally thousands of you. I mean, probably the same people every day, because some of them would be there for weeks, like, until they were recovered. And then they would go, and then the next lot. It was just constantly like that. There were beds in the hallways. Like, they had to turn the whole outpatients area where you'd go and, like, we originally checked. They had to revamp the whole hospital to try and cater, because there was no room. Like, you had the New Zealand and Australian governments coming in, setting up massive tents outside where they would have like these makeshift hospital rooms and stuff like that, because the hospital couldn't handle the demand. And then so from there, people were donating so much.
They even did like care packs.
Yeah, we would take care packs like all the time, constantly taking care packs.
So
we
what's in
would
the
give
care pack?
money. Oh, we had different types. So we had the first care pack would be like diapers, flannel, soap, shampoo, conditioner, like just the necessities. And then we would have like a what do you call it? A play pack where, just to have books, coloring pencils, all that kind of stuff, markers, a little toy, things for the kids. And then we would even have like we got bigger sponsors on board that wanted to donate. So we had like Digicel come on board, and they would donate free credit. And so we would give everybody credit so that they're able to at least call their families, let them know what's happening, keep updating them. And then we got to this point where, like, you know what, these people need money, like there's nobody working, there's parents, and there's nobody able to work. And so these people need money. So we got where we would give out money, would literally give out money to everybody. One time it was like maybe 30 tala each, and then another time possibly 50 tala each, like, and because it was a lot of the care coming through, we were able to do that. We had people who were reaching out, wanted to send us containers. It just, like, we never intended, like, the Helping Hands were literally set up for the measles. Like, there was no intention of like, opening this massive like nonprofit organization or like to continue on, but it just sort of happened that way. We try to manage the funds and donations coming in. I mean, it wasn't just money, food, like literally food. Every day was people were just dropping off loads of food, and you'd have people walk off the street
just to come and help.
Come and help. Like, what can we do? Like, yeah, coming. We would have like. We set up a kitchen at one of my cousin's places. She had a long, like literally her whole house was turned into headquarters. And so we'd have a whole on one side of her house was just packing. And then the other side, one side was sorting, other side was packing, and the other side was just cooking on nonstop because we did 3 meals a day. We did like breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so, like, you know, everybody would come in. We just welcomed volunteers. We had a massive whiteboard where people would just come in, write their name down to roster themselves when they want to help. Businesses came. And so everybody was chopping onions and, like, yeah, it was like that. And so because we didn't want any of the food to go to waste, they would freeze. We'd cut everything up, put them in freezer bags and freeze everything so that we could, you know, so that we wouldn't waste anything.
So it got to that point where you just had, like,
in abundance.
Too much
yeah.
things.
It was too much. Yeah. And so there's a few times where I stopped, like, please, like, we stopped donations for food. Like, oh, you know, I'm trying to reach out and say, look, we want to use as much as we can of what we have. We don't want anything to go to waste. So we're just holding off on donations right now, but you can still come in and help if you want. And so then that it kind of worked out where, I mean, people still dropping off stuff, but it kind of worked out really well that way. And then it got to the point where, like, so much money was coming in. Like, and when I say so much money, like, it was just like not one person would send like a whole bunch of money. It was just so many people, like 200 here, 300 there, 500 here, 1,000 here, and then you'd have a youth group who would send like 5,000, and like it just all added up, and it just like got to the point where I was like, okay, we need to stop this money coming in as well because we want to use what we have first before we went out. Like, it just like went way bigger, way bigger than we thought.
Overflowing.
Yeah, which was really good. You know, I mean, it just like, it was really heartwarming to know that there was so many people all over the world that cared so much, you know, for Samoa and the people, you know, in the communities to help. And so I think from the measles, after all that happened, and thank goodness we finally reached a peak, and then we were okay. Like, you know, and everybody was immunized. Like, everybody got vaxxed, you know.
Because do you guys remember how long that period lasted for, the measles, when it started, the peak, and then when it finished?
I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think it was months, like, it was something. It was within a 3-month period. I think it peaked after maybe 2 months or something, or 6 weeks at least. Like, you know, it took a while.
November, kind of.
It took it was more into it was it was October. It started in October. And then I think it went into Christmas because I remember we were going and giving Christmas.
Oh, yes, it did. Remember? Because we did the donation.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
November,
December. It went into
December,
December, yeah.
We did, sorry. Because we had to go and give, we delivered Christmas packs. And I remember we bought Christmas trees and try to, like, you know, for the hospital. And everybody's donating presents. And you guys, had that presentation where we were able to get all the like things like milk, diapers, wipes. Like, that was another thing that we had all the time. Like, it was just so many care packs went out. Hundreds of care packs went out every single day. And so, I mean, you know, it was nice seeing the community all rally together. There was so many other organizations that were able to help as well. So it was really good. And then we thought we were like good, you know, after all that, like Samoa was really like, it was a sad place to be. And then, you know, there was like this light at the end of the tunnel where things were finally, you know, better. And then what Helping Hands did after that was try to give support to the families that lost loved ones. And so we would go to the families, contribute to funeral costs, and, you know, just buy in bulk food and donate money, give money, because we had this money still left over. And so from there, we realized because we had all this money, we figured that we would just hold on to it, and then we would like be like one of those, you know, Avengers Assemble type of thing. Like, you know, if any pandemic or anything happened in Samoa, that we were able to regroup, and then we had the funds there to help out. And then that's exactly what happened with COVID, except it was really hard trying to figure out, because with COVID, measles, we could go because we were like, you know, we were vaxxed. We knew we wouldn't get measles, but in this case, it was like, there's no contact. So how do we help people when we're not allowed to go, like
Anywhere, yeah.
all of us can be affected. We're not allowed to go anywhere. We're on lockdown. We're not allowed to go. It just would put our volunteers at risk. So I think the team got together to try and figure out how we could reach out and help people without coming into contact with anybody. And the cash power seemed
The
like
next,
the most, the
next
next
thing to
best
do.
thing. Like
Yeah.
it was the most logical thing to do because we could do all of that online. Like we could communicate on our phones or emails or whatever, sending lists out to, Mina Supermarket, Sherry Lee and Diane and the team. Like they were like, yeah, we can do we can process the cash power. You just send it to us and we'll do it after hours. And so, what we did was we posted up for cash power assistance, and what we were doing is we would take like 200 families per week because that we could process that a little bit easier. We had to have some sort of control because you can't monitor. Like really, you just put it out there for people who need it, and then we're like no judgment. Like if you feel you need it, we'll help out because at least that's one little. I mean, it's a small assistance, but that's just one small way where we can help out, and then they could probably spend money on other things, food or whatever.
So that money comes from the same people that donate to.
Yeah, so that money,
measles,
that money was all left over from the measles, and just donors from all over the world.
Are they still putting in for the cash power, or
No, well, I still haven't opened up to accept any more funds.
oh really? Damn.
Yeah, it was literally
Yeah.
it's
It was
money
left
that
over
we
from the
it was
measles.
left over
Ah.
from the
Wow.
measles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so. Like I said, we were like hoping.
I think it actually came in a good time because
Yeah.
when we went on lockdown, remember we just everyone was like panicking, like oh my gosh, like lockdown. Everyone stopped working except for essentials, and then we had those people that work for the government and for the private sector and all that, like. Okay, no job for a week, 2-3 weeks. I think
So many
Yeah.
out of work.
like everyone out of how are they
How are they gonna survive?
survive for their families, and so I think Helping Hands really came out, like helped with getting assistance with power, and because at that time there were some people, I mean I think the government people still got paid, right?
The government workers would have still gotten paid, but everyone
the
else
private
had to
sector,
close down.
the private sector, it was like pretty much up to the business owner, if they were to, it wasn't like compulsory for them to actually pay their workers, so they were kind of like so but then again we've got so many families overseas, and there was so much, and that's why when we opened up those days where we can go out and do shopping,
The money
You'll see.
transfers.
the banks and all the the lines of people,
Queues
like
all
people
the way down the road.
people were just sending money over to
Trying to
to
help
help out
their
their families, because it was like they were out of job, like and everyone was like, oh, how long is this gonna be, like
Yeah.
and so I think Helping Hands at the time, like they came in, and with the cash power assistance, that was that was really helpful to
Yeah.
the community.
It was like it's meant to be, yeah. Like the
Yeah.
measles happened, you guys formed, and there's no reason for you guys to stop because there's always help needed,
Yeah.
Especially after when COVID started.
Yeah. It was 6 weeks, Rena. 6 weeks lockdown.
Really?
Yeah, because
probably
It was definitely 6 weeks. I know that because we were doing 200 families per week, and it went up to 6. We had 6 weeks, and then we added another 200 on top, a seventh list. Well, so we did. So what you would do is you would just give us your details on Facebook, just private message the Helping Hands page, and then you would go onto a list. And then once that list was maxed at 200, you would go on the next week's list. It was like that. And so we ended up going all the way up to 7 weeks. And then because so many families were messaging, and then it kind of got it kind of got to the point where, because people were expecting that once you send your details and you get your power straight away, and I'm like, no, you guys don't even understand. There are hundreds of people messaging. You just have to wait in the line. Like, they're like, when am I gonna get my cash power? It was some of them are like that, but it's like there's so many people messaging. You just have to try and get on that list. But once you're on that list, you're guaranteed you're gonna get the cash power. I just can't guarantee when you're gonna get it. Like, it's just we have to go in the order that where the names came through. And so by the end of it, just before we came, we were at list 7. And so, and before, so that's 1,400 people. But then before that, we had already sent almost 200 names too. So we've helped out over 1,500 families with cash power assistance. And so, which is really good. Like it was so close to, 49,000 tala. And for an organization, that was literally like money left over from, you know what I mean? We haven't really accepted. And so now we've finally opened up. We figured like, okay, this is going to be a norm in Samoa. Now we're going to start opening up to people. So if anybody's like listening to this and you guys feel like you want to donate, nothing, Helping Hands logo is nothing, is too small. And so, please feel free to donate if you want to, because it actually goes a long way for so many people in the community. And so, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it really helps. And I think it really helps like during the pandemics time, like when we had the measles and then now with the COVID, like,
even cyclone season, we had cyclone season. We were giving out like weather packs with like tarps, sapelus, kapolengi,
lamps.
Because
it came straight after the
it came right after the measles. It was cyclone, and then right after cyclone, it was cyclone weather. It was COVID, and so it was really good that because of so many people donating, that we were able to help so many families. With it.
Yeah. So and I we're so grateful, like Helping Hands, like. To the families that are overseas that like reached out and donated, like, they just saw the post that, and the work that they were doing. And then they, because there was a lot of assistance coming from the government, but that's the government, they get
the government did their own thing.
But like Helping Hands was like, man, it was like people were like donating from America, New Zealand, Australia,
everywhere,
even in Samoa. Like, so it was really an amazing.
Japan, all over the world.
We're just, I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, that Samoa lofa, like, we're connected. We're connected and we love our country. No matter where you stay, you're Samoan, like, and something happens to your country and then you just want to give and you just want to help. So, so thank you to everyone out there that helped with Helping Hands.
That's right. Let's keep it coming. Yeah. Keep it coming.
Man, I remember when I was in Samoa at the time when they were switching to cash power from the normal power pool.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called? The connect? You just...
it was like the prepaid. Or
the first they had
postpaid.
Postpaid.
And then they switched to cash power, which was prepaid.
Power.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
didn't
and
you guys know
because that time they switched to cash power, then you had to go and like go to the outlet or where EPC outlet, and then you buy the cash power. Then you go home and
enter it in.
Enter it into the the meter, right? But now we've got smart meters, so we don't even.
It goes automatically in.
Like, so we just go pay the money and it goes automatic.
Huh? You don't have to go home and push the card.
No more pushing.
You still have to some the ones that haven't switched over to smart meters.
Yeah. Oh. The majority have
trying to change.
The majority
change everybody out.
Do you remember if it was cheaper the old way, the post way, or is it cheaper?
That's what everyone's saying.
Oh.
You hear them saying, "Man, before my like $50 would last them like 3 weeks or a month," and then now people are saying, "Man, it's only 2 weeks with the smart meter," and it's so like, what's going on? Like, there've been a lot of complaints up. Like, we see it on Facebook, people complaining. I don't personally know, to be honest. I don't actually buy the cash power.
I'm not complaining as well. Like, I pay my, like, I think I get 200 cash power for, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks. And, to be honest, like, I think I'm with Eka as well. Like, I didn't really take notice, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so hopefully those meters are not doing that. But like, you see people complaining, I don't know.
No, but you know what? With those smart meters, there is an advantage as well, because when you're like, I think when you're like zero balance, right, in the middle of the night,
it gives you a warning. Like, it sends you a prompt.
Yeah, it sends, and then I thought it like has that, like, you can use like an IOU kind of.
So it'll give you up to 10. I think it'll give you up to 10 units. Something like that. So, like, from the time that your cash power dies, they'll credit you X amount of units. But then when you top up, it'll deduct it. But at least it's so that it kind of carries you until you go and get your cash power. So you're not kind of like cut off
straight away when you don't have any more.
Okay, so I know how cash power works. How does the other one work? The smart one? How does that one work? You still go and pay
for cash power. but instead of so basically the cash power goes straight into your meter automatically at the kiosk.
From the store. Oh,
Yeah. Rather than you getting a voucher and then you go and punch it
okay.
in. It just automatically goes through. And so it'll just turn on you, which is kind of good too, because a lot of times it's happened to me as well. I'm mainly to Jamie because he buys our cash power. Is that you go and buy your voucher and then you lose it on your way home. Like you go and do your facals. Where the heck did I put the cash power voucher? And so you end up having to drive all the way back. Like I just bought cash power and I lost it. Can you try and so probably smart meter, it has its advantages. So
you have to pay to install the smart meter?
No,
they changed it for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it does it cost more or no?
Nah, it doesn't. Well,
Same.
We don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah.
That's the $1 million question.
Because they control the meter, right? They control the meter, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
hey, we got power. That's the main thing.
and then as well, their EPC were doing it so they can try and save costs too. Because now they don't open like on the weekends. The cash power places are closed.
Yeah, so
right. And so like you run out of cash power in the middle of in the weekend, you're pretty assed out, and so you can get cash power. Like luckily, we have to go to the supermarkets and try and find a store that's open to buy cash power. And we have a friend that's at Diane. Like, hey sis, can you hook me up with some cash power till Monday? Like when you run out.
Especially the time of the COVID, we're like doing those ones to Diane.
Yeah, so they close everything up. Because before with the other one, it was open 24 hours, so you could go anytime in the middle of the night. You can go and buy cash power. Now it's like, no, it cuts off at certain times, and you can't even.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't open anymore, because like for example with the Helping Hands, like miners would load our cash powers on their off days. You know how we were like locked down on like we were open Monday, then locked down Tuesday, something like that. So on their days that they were locked down, that's when they would load. I mean, it takes ages. It's quite a process. And then we type in everybody's cash power, and then get the voucher number, record all the voucher numbers, and then we'd have to send the voucher numbers to each individual family, so that they can get their voucher number. Apart from the smart meter ones, it would go in directly. And then so there was a time where I'm like, oh, so many people were like, man, I really need cash power. And the miners are really busy. So I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to go to EPC on a Saturday and grab it. And they were closed. I was like, what the hell? No, seriously. It's like, what the hell? This is like, I mean, it's electricity, right? Like, it's a main, like, everybody needs it. You think it'll be open all the time. But anyways, they changed that.
But yeah, they've changed that. But then it just means that, we have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Like, we just have to prepare.
Adjust.
Yeah. Adjust to the changes. There have been a lot of changes in Samoa, and we just got to,
roll with it.
Yeah, roll with it. So.
It's interesting. You guys talked about how Samoa's getting ready for the opening the borders, and it's scary for a lot of people. Wow.
It is,
because I couldn't imagine that. Because like I said, like I'm thinking, guys should be excited that there's gonna be tourist money coming in. But what do people need to get around? Say like the resorts or people with, getting ready for tourists. Are they just worried about preparing for it? Like I know there's gonna be an influx. There might be a big influx of people. On the first week or first month.
I feel like that's what's going to happen. And I think
hospitals need to be prepared.
Everybody needs to be prepared. Yeah. Like, everybody needs to be prepared. Everybody needs to be, put their best foot forward, in terms of, like, protection and stuff like that, precautions. But what I do know is, like, SCA has been trying to also, try and recover a lot of the loss, from the past. So they're trying to bump up everything, right? Like they have apparently Samoa's Te Wila Festival is Independence. It's our 60th year.
Is a whole
Independence
year
this
celebration.
Year. And so it's from June till May next year. Like it's a whole year of doing activities, not everyday activities, but like activities that'll be constant activities throughout the year. That's going to be like branded as part of the 60th anniversary.
So do you think there's a little bit of pressure there, like with the 60th anniversary of the?
Yeah, I would say
that's the reason why they're opening the borders early, or are they just looking at what the rest of the world are doing and people are living with it, we should live with it too?
Well, you know what? It's like mixed. It's mixed feelings because there's a lot of people are saying, yeah, they're opening it just because they want to do their independence, like and then other people are like, no, they're opening it because they need to open it, like
But it feels like people are not mentally there yet.
No,
they're
it's
still-
definitely not. No,
Because
no,
COVID's
no,
new to you guys. Because
It
you guys were
is.
so locked down
It
for so
is.
long
Yeah.
It
that
is.
no COVID for a year.
But it's,
Yeah,
it's funny 'cause
exactly.
then
2 years, 2 and a
2
half
years,
years.
yeah.
2.5
Yeah.
years. 2 and 3/4 actually. 'Cause
Yeah,
of
that's
Makina now.
right.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, you're right. It's like, and you know what? To be honest, different opinions. Like people have like from I reckon I think the tourists in the hotels, the hotel industry, they really like
Want to be open. They want it open.
yeah, because they've been locked down for so long, like a lot of people lost their jobs because of the no more tourists coming into Samoa, and so I think they're like STA is trying to build that hype like to attract tourists back in, and then we have other people that are like, oh, we're not ready to open up the borders, like we're
Yeah.
not prepared, but at the end of the day, like everywhere else in the world, I reckon like is now coping and trying to live with COVID, but then some people are like, no. Apart from the what you call it, is it Delta that we have or Omicron?
Omicron.
Yeah, Omicron. Then that's it because COVID can't get like well, I don't know because I'm not a doctor, but they're saying like because the heat in Samoa is like so hot, like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's what I heard. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, over here, because winter's coming over here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It's probably here already. It's pretty cold, eh, guys? But yeah.
oh no, we're loving the cold weather, man.
Serious?
Yeah,
You're lying.
we've been
some of
in
the time,
Samoa
some of
like
the time.
a lot of bushes and
But then,
so it's so nice to come to fresh cold air and stuff. So really happy to be here in New Zealand.
because I heard on the radio today on the way home, like they were saying that they're going to keep it on orange because everyone wants it to be out of orange down to green because the numbers are coming down or the numbers are being stable.
Here or
Here.
Yeah.
So people are frustrated. They don't want orange. They want
Green.
straight to green.
Yeah.
But our government was saying that we're going to keep it on orange because winter's coming. People are going to get normal flu.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
normal
yeah.
flu?
That's right. Yeah.
Normal flu, and then they'll be pretty much they'll be like, oh no, like because like
Like they
you
put
know
in
back
the normal
home,
flu next to the
Yeah,
reasons why we're locked
COVID.
down.
You know what? It's funny because back home, because you know how we're like just new to COVID and all that, and it's like, so it's like now it's like you can't cough, like because once
It's
you
like
cough,
a sneeze.
a sneeze,
is
cough,
unheard of.
everyone's like,
You're like on the
You got
plane.
COVID?
Oh my gosh, on the plane, I get allergies. And, you got the little aircon vent thingy it comes right on me, and so like I get allergies, and it happens all the time, dude. And then I start like having a cough, and I start like sneezing, and then you get those eyes, kind of like people are like, and then Rena's like, dude, are you COVID? Like, oh my gosh, what the heck, man? I have allergies. But it's one of those things. Like everywhere you go, literally, that's what everybody's doing. Like you can't have a cough anymore, man. You can't even cough. You can't sneeze. Like everybody looks at you sideways, like, oh hell no, she's got COVID. Like
Well, apparently they proved, scientists proved that in the airplane, they recycle the air every 5 minutes. And so it's you get less of a chance to catch COVID if you're on the airplane.
For real?
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I was thinking on my way here, damn, if someone got COVID in here, we all got COVID. Like,
yeah. And I was just like, oh well, I can't get COVID because my 3 months isn't up. So, so I think I'm still safe.
no, apparently, like we're on the plane. I mean, it's like a 3 hour and 45, like a close to 4 hour flight, and I don't know how many times we sanitize. I'm, okay, giving her the sanitizer. We're sanitizing like all the time.
Yeah.
Just we're like, keep your mask on and. Because I don't think.
And it's funny because when we
sucks.
come here, because when we came here, we're like, got our mask on, and some people they don't have masks. They're like, oh, do I have to go put a
They're like,
mask
should we go
on?
put on
Should we
our?
put
Are we
a-
doing masks or no masks?
They're
Like we had a
and then
meeting.
we're like, when they said that, we're like, oh no, we don't need a mask.
Like we had a meeting
Yeah.
in town, and like one of the ladies had come. She wasn't wearing them. She was like, oh, she saw us wearing a mask. She's like, oh, are we doing masks, or are you more comfortable with us wearing masks? And we're like, oh no, that's okay. We're like taking off our mask, and then you're thinking, no, we're all right because it's annoying anyway. But then at the same time, like, damn, I don't want to get COVID
Yeah,
again.
it's annoying if you have lipstick on.
Okay.
Like,
It's so annoying. Rena's nose is always red because like her lipstick gets on her mask, and then like she'll hold on to her mask, and then maybe she'll rub her nose. And I'm like, why is your nose red? Or you take it off and your lipstick's smeared all over the place. Like, okay, now I can't wear lipstick anymore.
Yeah, the mechanics of wearing the mask. I was gonna say, you guys can't be shit.
But yeah, man, that's just the reality of how it is now. Yeah.
Because I hated it before, like when they're strict on masks here. I think that I try to test it now, and it works sometimes. Oh no, it actually works. Like before, when you used to go out, jump in the car and go, and then you just forget your mask.
You forget your mask. I know, it's
and
so annoying.
You don't want to drive back home to get your mask.
Yeah,
It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I
You
just
always
go
have
anyway.
to. Now you know what? It's like, you know how they banned
That's
the
the worst.
plastic bags in Samoa. It's like now it's like you have to have now. Not only you have to grab your mask, but you also like
Grab your bag.
Yeah. Like when you grab your bag, you have to grab your mask as well. So just, I think you just have to.
It'll eventually become this habit, like
habit, yeah.
But in the meantime, it is a bit annoying. Like I rocked up to the supermarket early in the morning, last week, and then I count down, and I was supposed to go in, and I could see kind of people kind of looking at me, and they're all wearing masks, and I just clicked like, oh crap, I'm not wearing my mask, and so I'm like thinking, oh maybe they sell it, which they don't because there's a big ass sign that says you can't enter, and I'm like, shoot, and then
How are you
that's
gonna
what I was
get a
thinking, like,
mask?
oh my gosh, I don't have a mask. Luckily, I was like, okay, I gapped it to the nearest chemist, the nearest pharmacy, and then went and bought a mask. But I was just thinking, like,
But that's what I mean.
You have
I
to
walk
have
in
them
with no mask
everywhere.
sometimes. Not
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't want to wear a mask.
Well, you
'cause
just
I
see.
forgot,
yeah,
and I don't want to go back home and grab it.
Yeah,
so I just go
yeah,
anyway,
true.
and no one
Yeah.
says anything. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
So it's not really compulsory to go with a mask.
Well, it's
to the
supposed to be,
supermarket?
but then
I don't
there's
think anyone
nobody
tells
really
you off.
monitoring
yeah,
that.
yeah.
unless they're a Karen.
Yeah.
Unless they're a Karen, they come tell you off. But no one's really told me off. But I just want to put it out there. It's by accident. You know, I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on
I just
purpose.
forgot my mask. I just want
Yeah.
to go back home to get it. But it is
Nah,
annoying.
you know what? It is because back home, because we're also the same. Like when you go to some supermarket, you have to put on your mask. So this one morning, I also went to the shop to go and buy something, and then because I went all the way to Goa, right? And I couldn't be bothered going all the way back home because I forgot my freaking mask. I can't even go into the store because I don't have a mask. So I pulled up to my cousin Tasca's place. I pulled up to Tasca's place. Got one of the daughters. Oh, can you come and run and get me a mask from the store so I can go and do my shopping?
There's a lot of Samoan families here just dying to go back to Samoa for a
I
holiday.
know,
So
yeah.
August, when you guys open, will be
They're like
good time.
Like even I was down in Wellington. Even my family, my auntie, my uncles, and my cousins. They're like, oh, we're like, when are you coming back to Samoa? And they're like, oh, we're just waiting till the borders open. So when is your borders open? Like, well, to be honest, it's open now. Like, to the Samoan citizen, but they're gonna open up to everyone. They're like, okay, but when is it gonna be? When are they not gonna have any more quarantine? Yeah, that's the problem. It's the quarantine period,
Yeah.
right?
It takes up all your holiday time.
Yeah.
So they're going to scrap that, no
well,
quarantine?
hopefully, like,
Oh,
if
they haven't said
I think
They
anything.
haven't really
do.
said it.
Yeah,
Like
they
the
haven't
latest
really
is
said it yet. Yeah.
7-day self-isolation. And in saying that, to be honest, like I mean, that's really like a trust issue that they have there because how are they going to monitor? How do they police that I'm going to be staying home for 7 days? Like someone just does not have the infrastructure to do that. Like
To police all that, no?
yeah, to police it. So I mean, I could literally just go out, nobody would even know. So it's basically like it's up to you to go and like
No, but then we have social media. Like, next minute you're out and then you go, oh,
Reported?
Yeah, someone will report you like, oh my gosh, yeah, she was out on da-da-da and she, within that 7, she should have
guess
been
what?
home. Next
That would
minute-
be Marina. She would be the first one to leave. She'd be like, okay, they don't even know if I'm going, so I'm just going to jump on the thing. Like, seriously, that would so be her.
Yeah, so even though, you think that, they're not going to police it, but you got to remember, like, social media is...
The people police their own.
It's
social
power.
media.
Yeah.
Man, I saw a
The
stat that
haters.
Facebook is like the biggest platform in Samoa. Like that also
It
everyone
is.
uses.
It
Like,
is.
Not Instagram, not any other.
Well, I mean, for me it is anyways. I mean, because
For me, too, it is.
I hardly use Instagram. I get like one random time I'll just go and check my Instagram. I'm like, messages from so long ago I've never even checked because I'm just mainly on Facebook, and I think that's the main thing. But I think slowly Instagram is coming through
I
a
think
bit
the
more.
youth is all like they're into but like us 16 and
16 and under.
we gotta roll with Facebook. I'm learning, like I'm learning. I'm also on Insta, but just slowly learning how to I'll get there. Don't worry.
That time I was in Samoa for those 3 months, like, man, my social media involvement was a lot less than over here. You know, I didn't care for it.
Yeah. Well, because you have more to do, I think. Because you're not. I mean, the difference I see between New Zealand and Samoa, and it's definitely a big difference. Is because in New Zealand, like you spend majority of your time indoors. You're at home, like unless you have something in particular, like you have to go to work, you need to go to the supermarket, or you need to meet somebody for like you have to book coffee dates and lunch dates and dinner dates.
You
like
schedule.
You literally have to schedule. Where Samoa's, there's nothing like that.
No.
You literally like all day long. You're in and out everywhere. Like pop into somebody's house because it's so small. You can do that. Like that's the life there. And so, yeah, you're not on as much as you would be like indoors. Like I've noticed. Like I'm hardly on Facebook. I when I do go on my Messenger, I literally reply back to the messages that are there rather than I don't really have so much scroll time unless it's like the weekends, like late in the weekend, like then on a Sunday or something like that. Then I'll be like probably scroll a little bit more. But I found myself like since I've been here, I have a lot more time indoors and I use it a lot more than I do.
Oh yeah, you can feel it straight away.
Yeah,
like
straight away.
How about you? Like
Oh no! Well, I have to be
regular.
I have to
Regular.
Update. I have to update my fans.
It's the ratings. It's the ratings. We have to.
You think it's easy, but it's hard. It's actually hard. But then when we're here, it's like, because remember, we have we have all our friends back home, and they're like, when we came, we're like so excited, couldn't wait. We haven't been back in 3 years, like and we're like, this is us, like the week before we came, we're like, okay, where are we gonna go eat? What are we gonna eat? What's our first meal that we're gonna have? We're like, KFC.
why is that? Why is KFC? Why do you think KFC? Why do we think we like KFC? What's up with KFC?
Dude, I think it's just something that we've grown with. Like as kids, it was like a big deal. Like, your family would come from overseas. It was KFC. McDonald's. It was like, oh my gosh, it was a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, they're bringing KFC. McDonald's. Like, you remember getting the Big Macs and everything at McDonald's? And then we finally got McDonald's in Samoa. So then then it was just KFC. And then it's just it's almost like instilled in our culture that when you go over to New Zealand, you have to have KFC.
And you have to bring home KFC.
Like everybody's like, well, what do you guys want to bring? Bring home KFC. And then like, to be honest, our first night we had KFC. Like, and we're grateful for the meal.
On our way from the airport.
From the airport, drive through straight away.
Hit KFC first. Bought a big bucket.
And then we had it.
$49 bucket.
And it was like.
Went home.
Fulfill
no.
I was because
build ups big time.
No, I really enjoy.
OMG. Build ups big time. Like, and then you're looking for the thighs. Like, where the hell's all the thighs?
No, and then
tiny ass, like,
No, but then again, then there's a coastlaw. Like, I really.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
like,
yes, that's right.
Like, we don't get the same coastlaw here at KFC and the coastlaw back at the other like DNC and stuff. So yeah.
But I mean, we did it. We have a list.
Yeah, and then we ate, and then
we
were
do
like,
all the lists of things that we can't get back home. Yeah, man, dude. Okay, let's do food places. Is that cool?
What are they?
Okay, well, so we did sushi, we did butter chicken, we did kebabs. We had the pizzas, or ours, and mine in particular was the butter chicken pizza that you get in Pakuranga. And then we did KFC, Burger King, Carl's Jr. What else did we do?
Wildfire.
Well, she did Wildfire. I haven't done Wildfire. We did Korean barbecue. All the desserts like Krispy Kremes, all the.
And you know what? Our list isn't finished.
Hell no.
So what's still on your list?
Oh.
Okay, so we have and this is open to all our listeners out there. Please, if you guys want to schedule us in, we are free. These are the places that we need to go to.
Home in 3 years. So I mean, back here in New Zealand, our second home.
We're planning on.
If you're thinking of taking us out, it better be one of those places that's on our list. Like, first of all, we want to go and check out that place in I think is it Parnell, that chocolate boutique.
Man, you guys know more places than I do.
Damn, and then we have 8. And then we have the what is it, the clam shack or something?
You know that is it?
You guys went to 8 for breakfast?
Well, no, we're
going there.
Oh, okay, for breakfast or dinner?
No, for dinner.
Yeah. And then we have Denny's. Not for like anything else. Yeah, we want to do Denny's for the chocolate fudge.
cake with
Chocolate
ice
fudge cake,
cream.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and then we're definitely want to do some seafood places.
We
did
want
do
to check out
seafood
that.
last week.
Is it Crab Shack?
Crab
Crab
Shack or
Shack,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, we got Crab Shack on the list.
Yeah.
And then we've done a few cafes, and then I was telling her, damn man, I don't want to do any more cafes, man. My mongi ko pikirema sanging me ai.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're trying to.
And we
get
have
all
to
these-
go and hit that place. Is it the revolving restaurant or something? The thing that the place that goes round. I mean the table, like somewhere in the city. I don't know. We
I'm
heard
not sure,
about
I'm
it.
not sure.
yeah, it's Sky
Is that in
City.
the Sky City?
Yeah,
I
Sky
think,
City.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that.
So those are the places that we're wanting
So
to
far.
hit.
We still have California burrito that I want to do, and then
But
we just had a taste of Hell's, so that's good. What else are we after?
And you know what? It's funny because we have our family and friends back home, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you guys go in?" And so we're like, every time we go out eating, we're like,
Yeah,
taking
bubble tea. Almost, I'm like bubble tea. Like I'm just loving the bubble tea.
Yeah, because bubble tea is expensive in Samoa. It's like $20.
Yep.
What is that?
$20 for the bubble tea.
Yeah, what is bubble tea?
It's boba, like where they
Bubble
have
tea.
like where it's basically like a sweetened, creamier tea. But then they add like different flavors, and then you have like it's basically what is it called? Like a gelatin ball in it.
It's like a
this
cycle.
like,
It's like a
have you ever
cycle.
had seiko? Like
Oh,
when you're
I think
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
yeah
You warm it up, and then it goes soft.
you
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
but
that.
then that they have that inside the tea, and it's so good. They have like the taro flavor now, and like my nieces were like, dude, I said you gotta try the taro. I was like, man, that doesn't sound
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
nice.
so-
Like and they're like, no, you have to try it.
We have that back home. The
Okay, I
taro
never
one.
tried the taro flavor
But I
one at
haven't
home,
I
but I
haven't
tried
tried
it
it as
here,
well.
and damn, it was bomb. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, tonight I want to have another one.
It's that
So-
packing. You can get that in packing, like the box.
Yeah, but who wants to make it? Like you don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
make it. Like you
wanna
just
go to a store and get it,
and buy it. I think it's
Oh,
like
okay.
$8 or something, like $6 or something like that.
and you just say boba tea to the person.
No, and they got like different
Oh,
flavors.
No, it's called like Momo and like all these different places. Literally, it's what it's called. No, that's the name of the place. One of the places that
Ah.
sell it. And what's the one that we went in the mall?
Don't say Momo on here.
Well, that wasn't Momo.
The momo tea.
It's like opposite Tank in the mall over
Yeah,
here.
it
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, which more?
Oh, the
Over
West
here.
City.
Okay, have you
Is it
guys been
still
to the new one in Newmarket, the Westfield?
No, have not been there.
There's a nice there's nice eating places upstairs.
Ooh.
It's like restaurants and stuff.
Dude, we just got back from Wellington.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
in
Like
Wellington.
we literally,
the
we got off the
weekend.
plane here. We were here for like 3 days or something, and we jumped on. We hopped on, went down to Wellington. I got back on Sunday. I picked her up like today, this afternoon, from Wellington. And so now that we're back, we are now like, free for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully try and tick everything off the list.
Yeah, I was just so excited to be back. Like 3 years has been a long time. It's like we were here. We're like, oh my gosh. We're like, when we call our friends and our families back home, we're like, oh my gosh, you guys are missing out. Like,
Dude,
and we're like eating our food, and we're like, oh guys, look, I think we're gonna throw it in the road.
Literally, this one
Like,
was
just teasing
posting
them.
everything we did. Guys, we're landing. Get up. Guys, we're here. Guys, it's cold.
I was like, guys, Pack and Save is still yellow.
Yeah, she's like, guys, Pack and Save is still yellow. Guys, KFC still looks the same. Oh my gosh, like everything. I mean, and she's like, Lily those guys, because Bubba was supposed to come with us, and up to the last minute, like
Yeah.
literally, she was supposed to come with us. And then she was too polite because they didn't get that confirmation from the government saying that they would
The
be
infant,
confirmed on the
On
on the 5th. So she's like, nah, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm not gonna go over there and be stuck there for how long? No, I'm not coming. So she decided against it. And then literally we got here and everything opened up. We're like, Dory, see, you should have come with us.
Yeah.
So now she's like,
And then we were like posting our food.
stop posting your
Gosh,
food
I
pics.
should have came, like,
Yeah.
You know, from the time you guys are here, like, because everybody's sort of knows about all the prices being
It
Going up?
has. It has.
yeah.
And
So-
because, and I think.
So the cost of living has gone up. Like our petrol's gone up way
Yeah.
too high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even food.
Yeah.
All the costs.
Yeah, it's
have gone
definitely
up,
not as
so-
cheap So the dollar the ta'ala when we come here, it's not going as, you know what I mean? It's like we have to budget, man. You know what I mean? Because it's not the same. And then, you can tell too, because, all the sponsors that normally like are like flooding in to take you, it's not.
It's like
that's not the case.
It's like they're not answering their
it's
phones.
Like, people like ignore, So yeah, we know, like, yeah, it's the same. But I mean that's the same thing everywhere. In Samoa, literally, if you're building, it's because shipping is so hard now. Everything's like
the freight cost has nearly doubled. Actually, that's I don't know, the manufacturing probably doubled, like the raw materials, everything has gone up.
Everything's gone up.
But then shipping has definitely
and then it's never certain. Like you're given a date that it comes, and like you never know. Like it's supposed to come like on the 10th, and next minute it's coming 2 weeks later, or like it's just been rerouted here, then everywhere, and it's all due to the COVID effects, things like that.
Like
so
we're always having short
raised.
of, like something always has to be short back home, and I think over here as well.
Yeah, when it comes to building, it's chipboard. I think chipboard's low.
The price.
Is low.
Chipboard is low.
Chipboard.
Chipboard.
Yeah, chipboard is low. Oh, there's not much chipboard. So
Yeah. Low and yeah.
So everyone's waiting, and people
Yeah,
buying
same.
it in bulk and
But the price
selling it
has
on the
gone
black
up,
market.
right? It's gone
Yeah,
up
on the black market.
Because it's all on the black market.
Yeah.
And then sell it for heaps.
Yeah, because you can't get them at the store anymore.
Yeah,
It's all
well,
gone.
Samoa, what they're doing is, like, for example, our main suppliers for building shops would be like SMI and Bluebird. And so what they do is what they're doing is they're trying, like, if you can't go and make an order if you're building a house, you can't just go and get your whole entire order. What they do is they give you put in your order, and they give you what do you call it? They give it to you like partial.
Yeah.
Because
they're trying to fast so.
Yeah, so because like if I order, like say for example, I ordered like 100 2x4s or whatever, they'll give me like 30. Yeah, they'll give me 30, and then they give the next person 30.
Right.
Yeah, so everyone
to
has
wait.
something.
like spread out.
Yeah, just try and spread it out. So everyone has something to do, and then they'll try and get the next shipment, and then give you some more. So like what's happening is the work is going, and then it stops, and they got to try and find something else to do while they're waiting for the shipment, because these places are just trying to like spread it out so that everybody has something. Because it's so hard to get things.
I'm not sure, but I heard that it's China. China is having some kind of jam at their port, and that's causing the delay and stuff like that. I don't know.
Because that was the kind of things that I saw when I went to Samoa that I never seen before, like the Chinese influence now. There's a lot of Chinese there in Samoa now.
There is.
Yeah.
Owning
There
businesses,
is.
$2 stores.
Yeah, there is too. I mean,
There's
like,
never
back then we had those, in every village there'll be a little store there, but
Yeah,
now-
mom and pop shop. Now
nowadays,
it's all
yeah.
taken over by.
all the Chinese, like, it's like dominated by Chinese setting up stores there in Samoa. Yeah.
And then and it's good for the families that are leasing to the Chinese, because
Yep.
they're getting this regular income, and then because before a lot of those little mom and pop shops would open up, and then they'll like you see it's closed, and then it's open, it's closed, and it's because the know-how for running the shops, or like, you know what I mean, I don't know, it just depends, or like family, like, I don't know, does not run well, and so this way they rent it out, and they're guaranteed a certain income every month, like, to come in, which is good. And then the other upside is that costs are brought right down. Like, costs are a lot cheaper, so more people can afford to get things. Like, these low income earners are able to buy certain things, like, like the Chinese shops where you can buy clothes, like the $2 shops here. I mean, there's no such thing as $2 shop in Samoa, maybe because $2 is like, you'll seldomly get anything for $2, but people can afford to buy clothes and buy nappies and things like that, toys and stuff like that for their kids. Where it be that it's cheap stuff, but that's what they can afford, and so that's the upside. And then the downside of it is that
we're bringing in rubbish,
which is definitely one of the things that with in terms of plastic and stuff like that. That Marina's heading. Marina's actually the president for Samoa Waste Management and Association. Waste Management Association in Samoa, which deals with a lot of this waste streams, and like, there's just so much rubbish because it lasts for like
Even the kids' toys, like,
yeah,
you know,
couple of weeks or whatever break.
and then rubbish.
And so, like I said, there are pros and cons for everything. I would say, but yeah, definitely. A topic that we should talk about is her big projects with SWAMA. I think that's like a big thing in Samoa. We just had a meeting last week with which is like trying to work on initiatives on how to buy back or minimize their products going to the landfill or to trash, like, you know, the milk cartons.
So we have all these you know, different companies now that Samoa's recycling, like, Samoa's really like come a long way with recycling, right? And so we have these big brands now that are coming in on board to try and they want to look after their
take responsibility for
be
their
responsible for
own waste footprints.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's firm. We're just only in meetings with a couple of companies, big companies here in New Zealand, which we're very grateful. Like, you know, we haven't yet closed anything, but, you know, we're heading towards that way. Like, you know, at least they're even considering, because back then, like, you know, we've never had
Anyone reach out
to, you know, everything that comes into Samoa goes directly to the landfill. Yeah, but now we have like with the association, there's the suppliers or the manufacturers are now, like, you know, being very cautious. There's a lot of, because the association is involved with a lot of associations here in Australia and New Zealand, where we partner up, and then you know, we have all these big brands on board. Like, they're all trying to, you know, come up with idea or you know, a way that
solutions,
you know, solution to address the plastic waste or whatever waste there is in Samoa that can be recyclable and can be diverted, you know, away from the landfill. Because apparently now Samoa's our landfill, I think it's got a, you know, approximately 5 years lifespan to it. So
to reach full capacity.
Yeah, to reach full capacity. And then when that happens, and then, you know, the government has to look elsewhere to see where they can have another landfill. And then, you know, you'll never know if it'll be at the back of your house, or, you know, it depends on, we're not sure where the government is. But then, you know, it's just about us doing what we can, like, or what you can do in your home. And, you know, we do a lot of, the association does a lot of, you know, awareness programs and education. And Eka heads a lot of, you know, events that, you know, we try and incorporate fun into recycling. And yeah, so
because it's unheard of in Samoa. Like, I mean, up until a few years ago, like, people didn't even know it. Like, you know, and that's actually been our mindset in Samoa. You, like, our focus is like, all I know is I'm putting my trash in the trash bin. Where it goes after that, because the collectors come, you know, we put it on the side. You know, in Samoa, everybody has the trash stands outside of their houses, you know, and you see it all in the villages. And then as long as, like, I'm like, okay, I've done my bit, I'm putting my trash on the trash stand, it gets collected, and then boom, that's it. We don't know where it goes after that. And I think it's just creating a lot more awareness. And so it's like big props to, like, the private sectors, you know, private companies like Marina's, who deal in waste management, you know, that they've decided to come together and form an association, which is, like, really rare, because most businesses in Samoa, they're competitors, so they don't really do things together because you're competing. Whereas this one is unique in a way where all your competitors are all coming together to try and come up with these solutions and create these different ways to help recycle in Samoa. And so Marina's been able to get a lot of be seen by a lot of donors, and, you know, and to see, like, look, we want to do something about it, like, you know. And then so they're all trying to get on board, and without her push, like, we wouldn't have been able to, I reckon we wouldn't have been able to get to where we are now. You know, the association works a lot with MNRE, directly with MNRE.
What's MNRE?
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. And so that's the sector, like, recycling, waste sector comes underneath the ministry. And so they do their bits, you know, they do what they do, and then it just needed, you know, they felt
hands and feet, like, pretty much
to actually
groundwork.
do a lot of the groundwork. And And then I think they have a lot of ties too in terms of receiving and getting donors. Like there's a lot of what do you call it, roadblocks.
Yeah.
You know, like when it's with them, like, you know, so much red tape around what you can do, and you know, whereas with the association, because it's private, like, you know, there's no strings attached to these places. They work with them, but they're not under the control, and so they have more leeway of how they can go about doing things. And I think that's made it work more, like, you know. And so like Rena said, getting out there and trying to do put the fund into recycling is only just another way of trying to create that like awareness and like education around recycling in Samoa. And like recently, well, I'll let her tell you, like recently we've had a lot of success last year, like shipping containers. Like we did our first plastic container. And that was from getting all the schools, I mean, not all the schools, but a lot of the schools in Samoa to come on board, and with school competitions and things like that, where they would go and collect plastics and stuff like that. And she'll give you a lot more on numbers, better at that. But
yeah, so when did the winter start for Samoa in terms of the waste stuff? Like,
association was formed 2018, right?
Yeah, so we were remember 2018 when I contacted you about our recycling facility? Yeah. So it started, we were formed 2018, and
who started it?
I'm one of the
she's a founding
co-founders, and together with I think it was like 2 other recycling companies, and then we had Bella from, you know, SPREP, and, you know, those that have expertise on waste management, especially hazardous. So SRWMA, Samoa Recycling Waste Management Association, was formed to address problematic waste. And what problematic waste was, things like plastic, glass, electronics, or e-waste. That all this waste was going to the landfill. So
low value.
And it was low value for us, because the reason why it may be valuable here in New Zealand or developed countries, but for Samoa or from the Pacific Island, it's considered as a low value. Reason being is because when we collect and we process it for export, by the time it reaches, say for example, New Zealand, like we'll spend more money on processing it, and
then the returns.
So it makes it a low value, and plus we don't have the technology. We don't have the technology as developed countries that they have now, the facilities and all that to dismantle goods and stuff and we don't have the population. We don't have the volume to be able to set up our own recycling facilities in Samoa. So what we do is we try and just collect and ship out to those countries that can help us with recycling. So last year, and I think it was June, there's this big talk about plastic and plastic waste, and we had I think we had a lot of donors on board. They just contact us and they want to do projects on recycling plastic. So what we did is we sent out a container to Australia, and I think it was June last year.
Yeah.
And
container of plastic.
Container of plastics
to go to Australia to get processed.
To get recycled into. So it was like a bottle to bottle. So we were collecting plastic bottles, the drinking water bottles. Right. And so I think it was we did a 20-foot container. We vouched last year. Last year we vouched to collect 1 million bottles.
In Samoa.
In Samoa. Yeah, it was a goal that we put out in Samoa, that we would collect 1 million.
1 million.
And is this the kind of volume that needs to be shipped to be worth anything?
What's a fill of a 20-foot container?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And it was 500.
It was roughly around about 500,000 bottles, plastic bottles, single-use plastic bottles. So because we didn't have that, because what we did was we got our first donor for the plastic was Coke Foundation. So Coke Foundation, they funded they funded the project they funded us so we could be able to make the recycling cages. And so what we did is we we put it out in front of supermarkets, out in the public areas, the schools, and I think we got around about 50 something cages out in the public right now. And so even though we were collecting from, so the thing behind the supermarket is when you go to the supermarket, you not only grab your bag, but you also grab your recyclables. And we have, red cage in front of the supermarket for the aluminum cans. And we also had a blue cage for the plastic bottles. So you not only grab your bag from home, but you also grab your recyclables and you just come to empty it into the cages at the.
Try and be convenient, like a one-stop. On your way to do your shopping, you can drop it off. So it'd be convenient for people to do that.
Right. Yeah. So with the plastics that we were getting in from the, from our 52 stores the what you call cages that we had out in the public, it wasn't enough to
nowhere near enough to fill a container.
So what we did is we did we made it like a competition with the schools.
So on Global Recycling Day, which is in March, to commemorate the 1 year of the association as well, we launched an anniversary of the association. We launched a school competition, and so it was like all the schools, had like 6 weeks to collect, as much plastics as you could, or plastics and aluminum cans. And so, and then we had like cash prizes because that was the only way, like, to try and motivate everybody. You had to put in cash prizes, and I think first prize was like 3,000 tala, second prize was 2K, and then 1K, and then we had a whole bunch of consolation prizes. So it didn't matter whether you came first, second, or third, or whatever. You even if you came sixth, seventh, everyone got a prize, like each school, and so it just sort of motivated the schools. To try and not only win the prizes, but, it was an educational thing where they would try and build it into the schools where we're trying to educate the teachers. Like it went like that. So the process was, if you entered your school, it was compulsory for your teachers to come and do like a workshop with us. So we would try and teach the teachers about the whole recycling process, and then hopefully they would filter it down to parents, and then filter to students, and then students take it home to their families, and then hopefully try and spark some sort of interest or education on recycling. And within that 6 weeks,
it was 6 weeks. We filled a container, 500,000 plastic bottles,
just like that. It
did, just involving the schools.
Yeah, just by involving schools. Dude, Cams, we would be driving home, and you'd see kids on the road with their wili paelos, and some of them like with their, with the king gangas,
the sacks,
the sacks, and they're like on the road. They were like just picking up, dude. There was no rubbish anywhere. Like, what a great initiative, right? And then the schools, we hear about Maris Boys School. They were going out to town, the markets, the seawalls. All of them picking up the trash and stuff. You know what I mean? It was such a great thing to see, because you'd see even on buses, and we would know, be like, dude, did you guys see that bus? You'd see like a parent or something, because adults carrying their garbage bags, like going to momoli it to the schools. Yeah, and because everybody, the communities rallied with their, try and get their schools to win. So everybody was like getting together, trying to get their schools to win. So they're all going to drop off their plastics over there, which is really good. Like literally, you see them walking along the road, picking up all the plastics. You didn't even see any plastics anywhere, for that period of time anyway, which was really good. And then, and then it just from there, it just blew up. It was like this huge thing. And we got so much advertisement out of it, like, and then awareness. So much. It was great for advertising. It was really good, because then in turn from that we were able to secure more donors, and then and just create this bonds with the school. So hopefully it'll be something that it'll be ongoing for them every year, which is what we decided was going to be annual. And so Rena's already heading we're already heading the next project for this year, like the same competition. But then the lockdown hit. And anyway, so it's kind of like delayed, but it's still in process. And it's just one of the ways that we're able to try and get out there. But like with SWAMA, there's so many waste streams. We deal with like glass. And then one thing that's really cool about that, and I didn't even know about it too until I joined until I joined the association. UNDP's, we're in partnership with UNDP, working on collection of glass. You know how Coca-Cola switched from the glass bottle to plastic?
In Samoa?
in Samoa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't
Oh,
get it
wow.
anymore. And then so
Yeah.
all the Coca-Cola, all the Coke now we get is shipped in from Fiji, whereas we used to make it locally. And I
Oh,
always
yeah.
prided myself in like that Samoa had the best Coke. Like it just does not taste the same. Like we always had like it's Coke in Samoa always tastes better than overseas. That's what my opinion anyway. But we don't have that anymore.
Because then the Coca-Cola buy Vanima
Yeah.
ages ago? Or
No, they were
was that
always.
nice?
It's Samoa Brewery. It's technically it's Samoa Breweries, and Coca-Cola is one of their. That's their biggest.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
remember, they do Vailima. They do Vailima. It's now called Samoa Breweries. They bought
Yeah.
Vailima Breweries.
So we don't have any more like the glass bottle of Coke
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
anymore.
yeah.
Oh.
And
So-
then we also have, apart from the Coke, we have those, the international beers, like
Yeah.
that's coming in from
like Coors
overseas.
and Bud Light.
Yeah.
Where
And then we
people
have
don't take
the-
those glass bottles.
Then
like,
we
can't
have
recycle
those,
it.
those bottles that you always drink vodka and Jim Beam and like all those glass. We even have people bringing in
'cause people just chuck it.
jazz and
Jam.
whatnot.
So you can't recycle glass anymore. You can't recycle
No, wait, they
old
didn't.
bottles.
No, they didn't recycle. No, you
They-
can't. Remember how you used to be able to everybody at their end of year parties, everybody go wow,
Yeah.
all their kifango and then go and
Yeah.
sell it and get your free party money.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that anymore.
Your cigarettes.
There's no more. There's no more.
Yeah.
There's no more. There's no more of that. There's
Oh.
no more glass. So they
Faded
faded it out.
Faded out
Phased-
glass.
Yeah,
And now
phased it
with
out, and now it's plastic.
Because I thought plastic was the hardest thing to recycle.
It is.
Like, I know New Zealand, I think they stopped the place we take our plastics over. I think it's somewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
They stopped. They
Oh,
told us
yeah,
not
yeah,
to
to-
send
yeah,
anymore,
yeah.
no more.
I
So
think
now we're
it-
just stockpiling it.
Yeah, you guys are stockpiling.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
this was one of the news, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? To be honest, Cams is, I think there was that time where they stopped. China stopped, but they didn't literally stop. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was more of the processing of the plastic, where what happened was China or Asian countries were just getting
Too much.
they were actually getting rubbish.
Oh, okay.
Like
Couldn't use
plastic
it.
and whatnot,
Oh,
inside the containers. So I think that's what happened. Well, I'm not sure, but I kind
Right.
of.
Because it has to be
But
pure.
at the
eh?
time, because at the time we just started the association, and I can remember I got interviewed on one of the stations, and remember we just literally just started the association, and they're like, one of the questions was, so the effect, how does the ban on plastic to Asian countries like affect Samoa?
Yeah.
And me trying to, I was just newly into recycling. This is what I said, and I can remember. I think I was on freaking what was it? New Zealand radio or Radio New Zealand. I
Yeah,
can't
Radio New
remember.
Zealand,
Yeah. I got interviewed, and this is me. I said, "Oh, well, that just does not affect Samoa at all because we throw our rubbish to the, like all the plastics goes to the landfill."
OMG.
But you know what? To be honest, that was the honest truth. That
Yeah, yeah.
was actually
Yeah.
exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. That's the whole reason why we set up this association, because, we wanted to divert this this waste that is recyclable in other countries, New Zealand, Australia, whatnot, Asian countries. And we can collect and then we ship out to the countries. So right now the association is dealing with electronic waste, e-waste, right? Computers, and we're doing printers, and you know what? And right now we're at that point where we're like, there's like we've got a lot of stockpile. We haven't yet scored ourselves a donor for the electronic waste, but we're still, trying to look for someone that can
Knocking
help us.
on
But
doors.
the thing is, we've contacted the brands here, like Samsung, Panasonic, or if I see, what's his? Is it? Oh my gosh, again, Ricoh. Is it? Yeah. Rico or something like that. At LG, like they got Pusa Ices and microwaves and not that. Like here in New Zealand, I hear that they're taking, like in the developed countries, there's a take back. Like these big brands are taking care of their their waste footprint. But when it comes to the islands,
I don't care.
like don't put it that way.
Well,
to be blunt,
they haven't actually.
Yeah.
There's nothing in place for that in the islands yet. And I think Marina's actually trying to reach out to them to try and get something rolling, to see if there's a way that they can work together.
Yeah, if we can ship it back to be recycled, or if you're doing a take back here in New Zealand, then why can't we, at the end of the day, we're not manufacturing these products in Samoa.
Yeah, we can't. We have
Everything
no
is
use of
imported.
it.
Like, it's either coming in from Australia, New Zealand, or Asia, wherever, right? So if these brands are doing big take backs in the in big developed countries,
Well, why won't they do it for Samoa?
Why not Samoa?
or
But you know
any
what?
other
This is the
island?
question that we always get, and that's the they kind of put us off. They're like, for me, we're like, okay, we'll recycling, Samoa recycling, and you know what? SRWMA. So SRWMA for short is Samoa Recycling Waste Management. So SRWMA is one of the first recycling association in the whole Pacific. So Samoa is like on the map for recycling because we have all these Pacific islands around us that actually we're leading in recycling. So Samoa should be really proud of that.
Is this the volume these donors are worried about?
It's the volume.
Yeah.
It's the volume. They turn around and they're like, okay, so
How much can you give us?
Yeah.
How many
How much?
containers?
And then not to that, and not then they go like this to us.
We're like, one.
They're like, okay, can you give us the serial number? Like, who's gonna go out there? Who's gonna go out there and take serial numbers?
On every single fridge.
Isn't that the
and
information that you get? You should have. Like, if you're exporting to a country,
They should already know what they're giving out.
they should already know how much or what is the volume that is going to each country. And so, so if you're a brand owner for electronic waste, and if you want to help the Pacific or help Samoa,
Reach out.
Please reach out. We're on Facebook and Samoa Recycling Waste Management Association on Facebook. We also have an email where you can contact us on recycle@SRWMA, SRWMA.ws. Yeah, so just reach out and hopefully we can work together. I mean, Coke is one of the big companies that are also working with the association, and they're also reaching out to the other Pacific islands. And we hope with these big brands that are paving the way, we hope the other big brands will also come on board.
Follow suit.
The other waste stream that the association is also dealing with is waste oil. So the engine oil and all that stuff. Yeah. So for the longest time, Samoa imports 600,000, I think, or what it is, of liters on an annual base, right? But there's nothing coming out. And then the thing is, once you get your oil change for your car, then it's where does the oil go?
Where does the waste go?
But the thing is, remember, Samoa is the majority, we depend on our
Agriculture
and our ocean for we do a lot of fishing, we plant a lot of, and
So that's a risk for pollution.
It
right?
is.
Yeah, it's just, where are they dumping it? It has to go somewhere, right? And you don't see the average Joe storing them in massive containers or barrels or whatever. So where is it going? It's most likely it's getting dumped in the rivers. It's getting dumped in your backyards. You know what I mean?
I don't know the science behind it, but what happens to that You can't recycle oil, eh?
No, you can't recycle oil, but what you can do is refine the oil and reuse the oil, right? And so,
so there must be some places
there is
in the world that
but
do
then
that.
again, so what we're doing is we're collecting stockpiles
Yeah.
in Samoa, and then now our next step is to try and export, try and work with one of the countries to divert the waste oil, the stockpile, to get recycled. So we're working with a couple of companies here in Australia and New Zealand to try and see, and also Fiji, to try and see if we can get close the loop on the waste oil for now with the stockpile that we have in Samoa. But eventually down the line, the association has another project coming up with the waste oil where we can hopefully in the future we can refine oil and pilot a project in Samoa.
How much of a cost is it to get every island, all the other islands on board, and then bring everything to one place and then ship it
You
out?
know what? That is also in the pipelines. It's in the pipelines. That's a famous,
Yeah, it's in the pipelines.
It's in the pipelines.
Because
but
obviously the cost is going to be the shipping of all that stuff from each island to one place, and then ship again. Like,
so they've also tried to have a partnership, and it's called Wanataka.
Yeah.
And then they have like a shipping company, Swire.
Swire.
You heard of Swire?
Yeah.
Anyways, they're a shipping company, and then so they're trying to work with them, and they have done so in the past, where they've shipped for free as long as it's in the route that they normally take.
oh right,
Yeah, with the islands, as long as it's in the route that they normally take, they'll ship it for free, which is really, really good, right?
It's really good,
massive
because
help.
It is a massive help. So if you're also tied up in one of those, shipping companies, you want to help Samoa out, help the Pacific out, get in contact, because we would like to see, because we're only restricted to, I think Swire's route is Pacific Islands, New Zealand, Australia, Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, and those countries. But whereas some of the hazardous waste, because that is what we deal with, is hazardous waste. We deal with is most of the market or the place that we would like to send to is like either Bangladesh or China or India and those places. But it's not covered under this route. But and saying that, we're so thankful, for, and a big hands up to Swire for even stepping in and trying to help the Pacific. I mean, that's a big thing, because that is one of the reasons why these shipping or the cost of freight is really expensive, and without the help of or the assistance of Swire, we would have no choice but to dump at the landfill,
or just be sitting there.
Yeah,
just be sitting, stockpiles just sitting there,
because we can't afford to ship it out. So a big hands out, shout out to Swire for coming on board and helping the Pacific, because it's not only in Samoa, but also the other Pacific Islands are also involved in that, where we can ship for free the low problematic or hazardous waste in Samoa. I mean, in the Pacific Islands. Yep. And I think.
No, I mean, recycling as well. It's really interesting, man. If you've ever really it's not really a subject that people really talk about, right? It's not something that you're just like, oh my gosh, did you guys do your recycling today? No, you don't do that. But it's actually really interesting. Until I came on board, like I was gonna say earlier, I totally got sidetracked. But the glass bottle then gets broken down, it gets crushed into a really fine sand. It literally gets crushed into sand, and people's like, oh, you can touch it, you can feel it, and people are like, oh, aren't you gonna get cut? You think you're gonna get glass shards?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. And this glass sand, then we go from glass, we crush it into the sand, and then the sand gets used to do concrete and make bricks, blocks, or into another product, which is super cool, because then then there's these opportunities to create funds, right? So that you can so it can be so the association can be sustained, right? And then for example, bottle to bottle, like Rena mentioned, bottle to bottle with the plastics, it's just this bottle, it gets crushed down, it gets palletized, it gets shipped off, and then it gets literally melted, or they extrude the plastic, and then they make it into a new bottle. And then there's so many different things that they can do with recycling these days, that it's super interesting, and that just people don't know about it. And the reason why, and they don't talk about it, they don't know about it, is because they never hear about it. It's just something that you never know about. So, I guess, I never really thought about it before too. Even in New Zealand, they have the recycling thing, and I was like, it's just really annoying, I'd rather just throw it in the trash, rather than separating, segregating your trash. But when you really actually think about the effects, and you can see it now, it's hella cold over here, right? And global warming is just something that is definitely dude, did you guys see? I mean, I don't know. Recently we saw on the news where these scientists were literally chaining themselves to. Did you see that?
What are they doing? Chaining themselves.
They're chaining how they going on strike, and they're chaining themselves to these massive companies at the front of their doors, or they're going on strike because they're we've been yelling for years, we're trying to scream at the top of our lungs for years that global warming is such a big issue. Like they're saying, like, at the rate we're going, like we've got 5 years. Like they're saying, it's not later on in the pipeline. It's literally now. Like the world's gonna end in 5 years because of what we're doing. And like they're like, all these scientists are going on strike because nobody's listening to them. And they're like, oh yeah, they're blah blah blah. And then like you think about it, man, it's such a big issue, but like we tend to like put it in the in the back corner because we don't want to like.
If it doesn't affect us directly, then
then we don't want to. We're not worried
just
about
put
it.
it this way: if you can't see it, then those ones like
Yeah.
If you can't see it, then it's not your problem. Like, you just turn the
And then I think like, damn, man, like you were looking, we started to, during lockdown, you like start Googling all kinds of crap. Like, I'm sure you did that too. You get to that stage where you're just so bored. You just do stuff like you never even like, what are we going to do now? And then you start looking up things like, okay, if there was going to be, an apocalypse or whatever, like where's the safest place to go? Guess what? New Zealand is in the top 3.
Really?
Yeah, search it up, dude.
Oh.
And in New Zealand, I'm telling Jamie, like, dude, man, we need to move to New Zealand. It's the safest place to be. We need to go to New Zealand. Like, you look at all these small countries, like, if they're going down, man, like, oh my gosh, so.
But with climate change, cause like it's like the Pacific Islands is forefronting like the effects of climate change, like where we get hit up with the the tsunamis, the cyclones, and then it just gets you thinking, like in Samoa, we're trying to slowly, educate people and try and get as much people as we can onto recycling. Like, it's really important. Back then in the days, those days, like I grew up where I grew up with my parents, staying with my grandfather and my grandma, like, every law. We used to, like, it was one of those, like, you wake up in the morning, you go and salu the koka, right? And then after you salu, you burn. Like, that was the practice back then, right?
Yeah, they still do it. Burn.
Yeah. And we still have it. We still have it now. Like, we still have they still have it because it's all about, if you think about it, it's also about the mindset. Like, changing
trying to get out of that mindset.
Behavior. Like, getting used to that. Nowadays, they hear about climate change and they're like, oh, damn, what's climate change? Like, but when we tell them about the effects of climate change, like, dude, this, like, it may be okay now, but your kids, like, they're the ones that are going to be effective if we don't act now. And so we try not, we're like in Samoa, we're not telling them to like go out of your way to do something really big, like, help with, with the environment, but like do what you can do in your own
little
space,
things.
in your, the little, what you can do in your home, like,
dude, we're like, we'd be driving somewhere and we're like, dude, look at all that trash on the road. Like, should we pull over? Like, damn it, just pull over. Because now because we're more aware, like, damn it, we're literally like, we're like pulling over the side of the road and
like
picking up trash.
The rubbish police now.
Yeah, we're like the rubbish police. Like, dude, did you just throw that bottle down? Like, hello, can you like take that to? And then like, anyways, it's now become a habit. So it can be definitely a part of your life, just like COVID, getting into that habit, changing that mindset of what you can do, what you can't do, just getting used to the norms, right? Like,
yeah, because recycling here in New Zealand, Australia, it's normal for you guys to do that, right? Straight away, like, oh, that's recyclable. In Samoa, we don't have that. Like, it's like after you use
just
it,
one trash. That's it.
After
trash.
you use
Trash
it,
is
rubbish.
Yeah.
What happens
Everything's
behind the rubbish is like, well, we can't see it. Just don't worry about it. Like, But
So is that what you guys trying to do? Do a processing plant? Your own processing plant in Samoa? To do processing something?
The volume in Samoa is just not enough to be
having a processing
to have
plant. Yeah.
Make it worth having a processing plant there. And so that's where it's at now. Like, and I don't see it happening anytime soon.
But we did, you mentioned like why doesn't the Pacific Islands
get together?
Come together? So we're in the process. So what happened is Samoa set up a recycling association, and then Tonga, and then Vanuatu, and Solomon has now have recycling association, and the aim there is to have a regional Recycling Association, and from there we can like combine, like just like you said, why don't you guys, all these small islands combine to make one? So they're actually looking, like Eka said, like it's in the pipelines, like where they're gonna pick a island, if it's gonna be, I don't know, the last time we heard it's either gonna be Fiji or Nomea, but nothing has been, nothing has been firm.
Set in stone.
Yeah. So it's either it's gonna happen somewhere soon. That's all we know. Like, where we can then, Samoa can send all their, say for example, if Fiji or Samoa has the plant, then all the Pacific Islands send to Samoa, to this to the hub. So it's pretty much a hub, recycling hub. Yeah, and so from there, then they can process, instead of us sending to Australia, Malaysia, out to those far countries, we can now send it somewhere closer. But so, we have donors, and we have those with expertise in waste management, like working on that. Where we don't know, but for now we're just doing what we can, and it's just like we're trying to encourage people, a lot of people, and so we're just trying to encourage Samoa to to recycle, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Yeah.
With SRWMA's humble beginnings, and a little bit of a little publicity you guys got, like the United Nations came calling, because I saw an article.
Who?
The United Nations.
United Nations, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what was that all about? Because that was definitely about what you guys are trying to do. Huh?
Yeah. So
we work with them. We have a project with them.
We have a
partnership with them.
Yeah. So when we first started, to be honest, like we were saying, you are asking about like what is our connection with the UN?
I saw an article that
you saw an article that we were
talking, or we
were featured in.
No,
featured in the article.
Yeah. No, that was on our glass project.
That's the glass project.
So they're one of UN is one of our donor partners. So we have. So right now the association has a recycling facility. It is the first in Samoa. We've got land from MNRE. We're based right inside of the landfill, and then we needed a facility, so we applied to Japan Embassy, to see if they can. So they hooked us up with I think it was like 450,000 tala, a facility. Now we've got a facility, but the association needs
Did Camps design that?
There was a time.
Yeah, what's my?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Damn,
hey,
weren't you the architect?
Hey, don't bring that subject up.
Still waiting for invoice.
Next.
Invoice.
Yeah, but you know what, Camps? You know what happened? You can't get paid because me and Eka are working for free. Look at the things that we do for.
This is the level that we're at, man. This is the level, and it's all we do, man. We talk trash.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, no one can.
Trash talk.
Yeah, it is. We're allowed to like talk rubbish because we deal with rubbish.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But anyways, that's
so
pretty much the recycling.
So we got donors from like the Japan Embassy helped us build that facility, and then with the facility, like how are we gonna collect the the waste, like go out to the public, to our cages, and collect from whoever wants to bring in. We need trucks and machinery. So we then again applied to the Japan Embassy, and then they helped us with giving us, I think we just signed our funding where they're gonna give us 3 trucks and 1 loader forklift. So that's in the process, and then
So will it be like 2 stands outside everyone's house, recycling one and
not everyone's house.
Oh my gosh, we'd love to get to that level, but right now we're just at supermarkets, public areas, accessible areas. So like supermarkets, schools, and then we especially like sporting facilities, like sporting venues, just places like that for now. Because we originally did have some in like at the bus stops, behind the market and stuff. Yeah, bawaleme kupu is like people end up throwing all their trash in it, like diapers, like boxes of chicken, like used, like and then it
in
was
the public
so
areas.
bad. And so
So you can't really sort that out.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they're just they
Yeah,
didn't
but
even
again,
care.
but again, it's because we didn't put out
No
enough awareness.
Like
Yeah,
it's just
not enough
no awareness and education,
and we don't have
why.
the budget to do that.
They
so
just see it as a trash
SWMA
bin.
is
Boom.
SWMA is 100% funded by our donor partners, and if we don't get funding for advertising on TV, pushing out on social media, like we can do so much with social media, but everyone's watching TV, listening to the radio, and so if we don't have the budget to go on radio and talk about, go red is for and green not. It's like,
Oh, so you guys not on TV?
huh?
You guys not on TV? And
No, we're not.
They-
We're not. Well,
Well,
sometimes, like
no,
when
no,
we
have ads.
we
We
have
have advertising
now and then,
and
but
rating,
it's not enough. Like,
Yeah, it's not enough.
yeah, it's like over here, like you hear recycling all the time.
We
like,
have to literally be in their face, like
Yeah.
constant, and we
But because
don't
we don't have
exactly
the budget to
funds
do
for it,
that,
yeah.
So if you're one of those listeners out there tonight, like you want to help
There you
SWMA
go.
out, contact us on recycle at swama.ws, and we'll be so happy to meet you and see if we can do some business.
you should try to do like those the Digicel ads they got on
What?
Samoa with the acting. They do a little story and
No, we do. We
Trying to
have done ads.
read and-
We have done
Yeah,
TV ads,
we've done ads,
Facebook ads, radio ads, and things like that. But we can only pay for so many
much.
spots.
Ah.
Like we would have like a budget for like 3 months, and then we'd run out, and then we gotta try and find some more money to do.
And
another
then
3
some people
months.
also have that mentality, like, okay, if I recycle, do I get money?
Yeah.
Like
What am I
that-
gonna get out of it? If
Yeah,
I'm
what
gonna
am I
give you
gonna-
my bottles, am I gonna get something out of it? It's like, dude, you're saving your environment. That's how you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
It benefits everybody in the long run. But then that's also another mentality that's just
Yeah.
gonna take years to try to change. But
Yeah.
yeah.
when that Asian country told us to stop
The
giving
plastic.
them the plastics, then our government turned around and said we'll give them incentive to not have plastic bags anymore in the
Yeah.
supermarkets. So
Yeah.
you can't get plastic bags.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
put
yeah.
plastic bags. You
Yeah.
got to buy it
Yeah,
like
yeah,
$1
yeah.
for.
Yeah.
For a plastic bag or the
No, no.
reusable?
A
Samoa
reusable
is
bag.
no plastic.
Yeah.
Everything,
We've banned
even
it.
the
It's all banned.
even the styrofoam.
Styrofoam gone.
Oh,
Styrofoam's gone. Everything's gone. So like everything now is paper in Samoa, which is huge because there's less rubbish everywhere, and it's they banned all of that. So it's pretty good
Yeah.
because I think Samoa was one of the first to do it.
Yeah,
One of the
one
first
of the
islands.
first.
Yeah, one of the first islands, Pacific islands to do it, to go full full throttle, everything cut. And so, but you see the benefits of it now. Like everybody's just masangi. I think you do those ones. I'm sure you have it too, where like you have all your you buy your shopping bags, the reusable ones, and then you just let it pile up at your house, and you go in and buy another one because you keep forgetting to go back to take it with you to the supermarket. That's just something that we gotta work on too. But
Yeah, but at the beginning, when that happened, like everyone was complaining, but eventually, like I said, like the
Just get
the
masangi.
mindset, get
Yeah.
masangi,
The
and then
culture changes.
Yeah.
yeah, and then now they're used to it. It's like, okay, go grab a bag, or then okay, well, if I forget my bag, or you have that bag inside the car, like in case you go shopping, and okay, then you have to buy it. Yeah. So that's
So what the goal you have? How long do you think it'll take to get to where you guys want to be in terms of recycling in Samoa?
I think we have a long way.
Long way.
Long way. Hey, if you honestly think about it, we somewhat just barely started.
We have a long way.
Yeah, like even though we do recycling, like there's a portion of the population that does, but a very tiny. We still have a lot of way. Like we still need the assistance. We still need a lot of awareness, and recently this year with the COVID, I mean, we've had a lot of setbacks. With the work of the association, but we've also had a lot of donors. Like just recently, we got approved some funds from the New Zealand High Com. They're one of our new donors that come on. We're back again, second time round with the Coke Foundation. They've been helping us a lot with cages and awareness and now what we get assistance from IUCN and just SPREP as well as JICA, the Japan Embassy. The Japanese are real big with recycling in Samoa. They support a lot of our work. So it's just like how long. It's not about how long, but a lot of people say, "Oh, you guys got I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work." But dude, at the end of the day, we got to start somewhere, right? So we've started, and now it's just up to, everyone to, kind of, get on the wagon and hopefully,
and finish.
Mm.
Wait, and paus.
And bauges.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I reckon enough about us, man. Cams, tell us what's in New Zealand.
What's in?
Yeah, what's happening?
Like
What
with
do you want?
COVID, because now the tables are turned. Like, we want to know about, because we haven't been in the country for 3 years, like, what's up with everyone? Like, with COVID, with
Yeah, I think everyone.
family.
I think everyone's dying to get out of here, like go travel again.
Yeah, because you guys
Do you reckon
are
you'll come
slowly,
Samoa soon?
slowly opening up too,
Yeah, I want
right?
to come back. Yeah, everyone's slowly going out. I think we can only go to Rarotonga right now.
Oh.
In
Dude.
Australia, yeah.
So Australia, I was supposed to be going to Brisbane this week on Thursday. This whole entire week, all the flights fully booked. I couldn't get on a flight. That's why I'm not going. Couldn't
Dude,
get
and
on
the
a
flights
single
were
flight.
like-
And then to come back, I mean, they couldn't find me a flight to go over, and then the flight to come back next week. It's like 1,800 one
way.
What?
And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, what's
1,800 one
happening?
way.
And so they found like this one ticket. One of the trainers on our team for it's a netball team, and he had to go. He has to do 4 transits. So he's like in Napier right now. He has to fly to Auckland, then he has to fly to Christchurch, then Christchurch to Melbourne, and then Melbourne to Brisbane. Ticket to Australia. It's like literally 4 hours away, 3.5 hours away, and then he has to detour all around the world to get there before he gets there. I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that flight. But luckily they said, oh no, it's okay. I didn't need to go. But yeah, what's going on? Like, everybody's trying to go. It's like everyone wants to travel, or
Everyone's trying to go. Everyone's trying to get out of.
everyone's tired of it, being cooped up for so long. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
being cooped up for so long. It's just like, man, I need to get out of here.
And the airlines are trying to recoup some.
Yeah,
some
some
money.
money, of
Yeah,
course.
You know, so it's
They're
been-
like,
Yeah,
nah, man, we've been out of operation for how
so
many
long.
years?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it's been about 2 years now. 2 years since COVID happened, and it's just been like. It's funny because it's like, this is it, right? Because I'm not used to going away anymore, you know.
I was just gonna say, this is us.
yeah, this is us. This is us. It's just work, home, home. And it's funny what you said before, because that's exactly it. Living here in New Zealand, you know, you just got to work, come home.
Work and go home. Like you have to have a reason to get out. I mean, like you don't want to waste your petrol. You're like, I mean, you always hear that all the time. Oh, you guys were like, dude, since we've been here, we've been like flying down that motorway back and forth like it's nothing, man. Like seriously, we're like everybody else is like, where are you guys gonna? Oh man, mamau, and like they're like fa'aku because they don't want to like, oh man, I don't want to be driving all the way out there. And here we are, like in one day, from Papatoetoe or Manukau, right to the city, Henderson back to out south. We were just like, that's what we've been doing ever since we've arrived. We've just
like
been
it's
like,
the norms for us.
it's
back
just the
and
norms,
forth, back
just
and
flying
forth.
on the motorway like all the time, and like,
I think it's because working life here just takes a lot out of you.
yeah,
You're working from 9 to 5, and by the time you get home, you just want to
wasted.
crash. You
Yeah.
just don't want to do
And
nothing.
then the weather too, man. I mean, I think we just got here just as the weather's changing, like getting really into winter. You start to feel it a little bit more. Like we've had some nice days since we
Dude,
came.
Wellington is so cold.
Windy. It's the winds, like, and it's rainy. And so I guess like, yeah, I would see it too. I remember like when I used to live here too, like the weather just puts you off. Like when it's cold, you just don't want to go anywhere, man.
But then a lot
It's
of
like, I
you
don't
guys
know.
here as well is you guys are like a lot of you guys are working from home now.
Yeah, a lot of people are. And I think people are used to the whole Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoom calls.
So,
Oh, that's
so
what's
now,
happening to us as well back home because
Oh, really?
you know.
How's
But it's
the internet back
horrible.
home? Is it
It's
Is it
horrible
better?
because you keep getting cut off, and you're like, have you find that everybody says before they're on everybody says it. Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? You guys hear me all right? You're like, yes, man, let's go. Like you hear that every single person when it's their turn to speak, when they
Yeah.
got the floor, everybody says that. They're gonna go on. Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you know what? In a way, it's good. It's good. Like if you honestly think about it, because it's cut a lot of
Costs.
like say for example, a lot of costs for traveling. Like you know how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like say for example, I mean we don't work in the government, but we get through our work we get trips, right? But because we can't travel, it's like, oh, so now the borders are kind of open. We go to New Zealand, go to Australia, like, oh no, we can
We can
Zoom
do
call.
something. Yeah, but that kind of sucks though, right? And like constantly doing stuff on Zoom, like le lava for Zoom, and then you do one of those ones where like I'm sure you've all done it at some stage too, where you put on your nice shirt and you're wearing your pajamas on the bottom, just in the front over here, like hi, or really you're wearing the, and I think that's the norms everyone's doing now, like because you like have your meeting, okay, gap it, and come back another meeting, gap it.
But how's the internet over there anyway? Is it better? Is it 5G?
It's
over there?
fine.
You guys
No,
got
not 5G yet. We've got 4G plus. I don't know if that, like, I guess one step up from 4G.
Why are you guys what 6?
No, 5G. But I don't think it's up and running. Most places.
So you guys are still kind of 4 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
well, majority of the towers in Samoa are 4G. There's still some 3G towers, but I mean, I think both companies are working on upgrading. So it is a lot better, but during lockdown though, because the congestion.
I know.
Oh, everybody's using it.
Everyone was
It was
using
so
it like,
slow.
dude, what's going on with the internet? Like normally, like we watch Netflix like all the time, like normal. That's our TV. We don't even watch TV. We're just Netflix, YouTube, like all the time, and we never have any problems with it. It's just like, man, during lockdown, loading, and we're like, we know because it's just a congestion because literally everyone's at home and everyone's doing the same thing, and so. I think they were working round the clock, like all the communication companies trying to keep their upgrades and trying to keep their internet going well. So, yeah, luckily for that.
Because I remember that big cable they were supposed to bring through, right?
Yeah.
Tui cable or something.
Because it was supposed to come to New
Through
Zealand.
Samoa.
But it was going to go through Samoa first, and you guys connect to you guys first.
Yeah,
Before it comes to New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
But I don't think that happened there. Or did that happen?
No, they did. I think there's a lot more around
No,
it.
we have.
But we
have
have
that
it.
cable.
We've got.
Yeah.
We actually have 2 cables. We have the Tui Samoa cable, and then the other one is the one that goes. It's through the States. It's American cable.
I think that's the one they were supposed to bring down to us.
Well, we
you guys.
do have 2. We do have 2 now in Samoa, and we're supposed to be connected to those cables, which is supposed to make it like super faster. But yeah, I don't know the technical side of that. But yeah, it has improved a lot. Like it has improved a lot. I mean, they're adding a lot more towers now around, so that especially in like there's all those, what do you call it, those dark spots, like those what are they called? Black spots. Yeah. Where like it doesn't get connection, or like because Samoa's it's got a lot of mountains and blah, 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 so it depends on the landscape and stuff like that from where you're at. Yeah, that also factors into your reception. And then what I found out is that for reception to be good in Samoa, because you know how Samoa majority of the fales are like just upper, they just have the roof, and a majority of the time it bounces, the signal bounces back off. Yeah, I didn't even know that because Savai Salilonga. It's so bad, the reception. So what they had to do was they had to put the satellites or whatever they use, the dishes
to divert it.
They'll put it on top. You have to put it on top of the roofs or certain areas because they couldn't have it in or to get the signal, because in Samoa it would just bounce off of the houses. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that. But anyways, yeah, lots of things. But it definitely has improved. And Samoa has a lot more. I mean, I think you'll find that there's going to be a lot of more new things when you come back to Samoa.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed not having much in terms of technology over there when I was there, because it was like it didn't force me into other things, but it was other things were there anyway. Like
Drinking.
For me, it was.
For you, it was what?
Come on.
Come on. This is the red table. Red and yellow table talk.
No, it's just okay. We sort of talked about living here in New Zealand, right? It's like a rush, right? Everything is scheduled. You got to work 9 to 5. You're tired.
Yeah, that's it.
You pay the bills. You're sort of like tied down.
Yeah.
You got no time for anybody.
Yeah.
Man, when I went on Samoa, started working there. I know, in terms of like mental health, it's like
relax.
It was relax mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it was like laid
the rush.
back
The rush was gone. The rush over here was gone. You didn't need to actually watch the news.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really care about what goes on.
Yeah.
You don't really care about social media stuff. What goes on?
Yeah.
Like,
What's happening everywhere else?
the commentary and all that. You know, like, yeah, I didn't get any of that when I was in Samoa. Like, I was just lost with just going to work in Samoa and just being with my family and just having fun, you know, and not just being happy. Like, no traffic.
Yeah, no traffic.
Just
cruisy.
there's no stress. Like, absolutely no
you're
stress
so
at all.
right.
Like, zero stress.
Like, dude, we're like literally like, okay, say, or you just pretend that, like, you know, I don't work, right? But then you have your family around, so you don't work, and then you just go nick minute like dinner time.
Sa bali-bali ako eat. But like everybody, because you know, so many people, like, I wouldn't call Samoa, like, you know, they say that there's a lot of poverty, but there's a different type of poverty. We don't have that in
we don't
Samoa.
have poverty.
Everybody can eat. Everybody can eat.
If there's poverty, you're lazy.
Yeah, you're lazy because you live off the land. Like, you got the
We're
sea right there. You
we're
got the
so
land.
blessed.
Yeah, I mean,
Samoa's so
there's always,
blessed.
there is food. You know, I mean, there's, you know, of course, it's not always jobs, like, in terms of, you know, for income, but yeah, there's always going to be food, and, like, you know, you always have your family there.
You have your family next door. Then you have that ulu tree that's always. You have the V, the Essie, and whatnot. The mango, you know what I mean? Yeah, so you can never go hungry there.
Yeah. It's just,
except for Baba, she's always hungry, looking at going to everyone's house.
She's gonna be like, I cannot believe you just said that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought it was paradise there. I thought my time there was paradise.
Yeah,
it is. It still is, to be honest.
I feel like it is, yeah.
You know, here, like, we like here, like, you know, when we come here, like,
we love it for holidays.
Yeah.
And we
love here.
We almost
holidays.
need it, like, to be honest. Okay, we it is paradise, but it's nice to get out every now and then. It actually, like, you feel refreshed because everything also becomes repetitive. Like, you see the same people, you hear the same music, like, you know what I mean? Because it's so small. There's only so many places you can go for a kafao or whatever. You literally see the same faces all the time, same shops, same things that are in the shop, same food. Like, you know, you go to one place, fish and chips, and you go to another place, fish and chips, like, you know, and then it just becomes repetitive, which is why we had the food list coming here. But, like, as long as you're able to come out of Samoa every now and then, dude, why would you want to live anywhere else? It's so, yeah, it is really good. Yeah. In saying that as well, there's always like this other angle, like before I came here. Like, I was telling, like, Jamie, like, why don't we just go, like, let's go to Brisbane and stay for like a year. Let's just pack up and go for a year or two and just see how it goes, just to have a change of pace and change of life and whatever. And it was mainly for the kids. Like, you know, when you have your kids, you want to have them get that education, and then, like, also, like, all the different opportunities that you don't have. Like, we see our friends who, like, they get their kids into kickboxing and cheerleading and, like, you name it, like, whatever kind of different sports, and, like, you know, they're doing acting lessons and, you know, all this other stuff, you know. And then, like, things like that you can't do in Samoa. Like, you know, those are probably some of the
you
stuff
can probably
miss.
do it, but then you'll have to pay heaps. Like, you know, those ones.
Pay heaps, and then, well, it's seldom. It's hardly ever there. Like, you know,
And then when we have it, it's like trying to, you know, find time to take the kids to those activities, like, you know. Some people.
So that's probably only one of the things why I was thinking, man, I want to go. I just want to go for like a year. I don't want to go permanently. I definitely don't. Like, Jamie's like, hell no. I've been my own boss for so many years. I'm not gonna go and work for somebody else. Like, you know. And I'm like, okay, you stay home. I'll go and work. Like, okay, well, you know, I said that, but, you know, we'll see.
See, another thing I thought about was, this is my own opinion, but over here there's a lot of emphasis on Pacifica. If you are Islander over here, like, you get stuff, and there's like a corner of, like, mainstream society and social media for Pacifica people. Like, we got the Pacifica Awards, Pacifica Music Awards.
That's right.
You know, there's always there's always the government helps with.
There's a lot of assistance.
A lot of funding.
There's a lot of programs and opportunities where they can join. Like, even like a lot of they even do, like, courses and stuff for free, for, like, they do, like, free courses and stuff like that for them too. Huh?
Yeah, they do all that, and it sort of makes us be a separate people in in some ways. Like we get all this help, we get all this like identity from the rest of New Zealand that we are a Pacifica people. That sort of makes us
Special.
not special, but puts us in a separate
Box?
space to everyone
Like
else.
we're segregated or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
In a way where I think it's if you look if I look close at it, it's probably sort of racist in a way.
Right.
Because when I think about the award stuff they give us, like we're competing amongst ourselves.
Right.
Ah,
We're not.
yeah,
what's
We're not in the.
what's
we're
that
not in
award
that,
really?
That, yeah.
If you win the Pacific Award for music, you're just competing with our people.
Yeah.
If you get
You
the
know, on the
Pacific Award for business.
on the bigger stage, on the bigger
Platform.
you're
platform
not. What are they
with
trying to
everybody
say?
else.
What are they trying to say? They're keeping us.
But then, in a way, then you gotta think like, is it like so they're building? Because sometimes we see like the Pacifica people are like, I don't know, but some like they're really makamuli, like they're really like shy and and through tagging along these these
things that brings them
Pacifica.
up.
Yeah, like just builds their confidence, and
yeah.
then next minute from here they can take a step forward into the I mean, what's stopping them from going and applying to, if they're getting nominated, then what's that stopping them from getting nominated to the to other awards that New Zealand
As a whole.
is, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And sometimes it's also about them making themselves like like having that thinking that they can, oh, this is the only way like to go through this Pacifica, whereas they should be open and like, oh yeah, I'll just apply here and I'll apply there for this award, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, just
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a little bit like, okay, I feel like it's a lot changed. Like this is from us, an outsider, like coming from Samoa, coming into New Zealand. You may not have, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I definitely noticed it. Like, I feel like there's more inclusivity for Pacifica, and like I haven't seen that point that you just mentioned before. Like I never saw that I never saw that point of view before. But what I noticed coming here, hey, back in the days, every single billboard you saw was a white person. Everybody on the diapers, on the billboards, everybody was a white person. Now everywhere you go on the advertising, they're all islanders. You only ever see islanders, and like you never used to see that before. So they are like they are changing. But I can see I mean like I said, I never saw that point of view before that but from me coming in, I was thinking, man, it's a lot better. Like I feel like they're including us more, because at the end of the day, us Pacific Islanders have been here for so long. Like, say what you may, but All Blacks, they have so many Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of sports, like if without these Pacific Islanders, they've been able to, get all these, build these better teams, and you know what I mean? Like, get on the platform in certain levels and stuff like that. And then I know now they've added that Pacific Island team. What is it called? The rugby team?
The Moana
Something.
Pacifica.
Yeah. Moana Pacifica team or whatever, like where they're trying to add more. And like I even see it in Australia. Like I've seen it in Australia, which it was always New Zealand and Samoa. You see it a lot more with Australia now. They're trying to reach out. I think they finally like got to that point where, damn, we need to get these islanders, because all of them are going to New Zealand, and New Zealand is just getting, I mean, I'm just talking about in terms of sports. I'm not sure about anything else, but like just from what on my point of view is like you see them, like the Silver Ferns and like, you name it, like, you see these Pacific Islanders really lifting the country up, like New Zealand, in terms of sports to another level. And then they're finally catching on, and like I said, in Australia, like I feel that they're finally catching on. And so now they're providing now, and I'm speaking in firsthand from netball, that they're now offering, like Australia has now just offered like so much. Like they're now throwing this funding, giving us so much opportunities to work with Australia, get our players over there, because now they see like the growth. Like whereas before, like you just see white people, like you see like a random Samoan here and there, like an Islander here and there, Whereas now, they're opening up to more opportunities for us to come over there, because then it helps Australia as well in terms of sports and getting on that platform, because our people are naturally talented, like they just naturally have that skill, but they don't have the know-hows or the expertise, coaching and stuff like that from when they're little. So the benefits of them bringing them over here, getting that coaching, it just lifts everybody up. And I've seen that more, like they're recognizing that, like, New Zealand is not just Maori and Palangi anymore. This is New Zealand, like literally Pacifica, the Pacific Islands. That's New Zealand now. Like you see them everywhere, and I think I feel that it's a lot more welcoming in terms of that, like, the progress towards inclusivity for Pacific Islanders is a lot more than that. I mean, and sometimes it even gets to the point where, like, I know what you're saying, like it even gets to the point where, like, come on, they're always just trying to play that card. Like now it's like one of those things, they play that card like, oh, it's for the Pacific Islanders. But yeah, you're right, it could be like, why not just say as a whole, like, for everyone, like, I see your point of view where you're saying, like, it almost puts us in a box where, like, you're competing against each other and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's intentional, or if it just comes off that way. But, from my point of view, I felt like I do honestly feel like there's a lot more equality and inclusivity, than it was back in the days, like literally.
Yeah, for sure. I think New Zealand has done a good job. I think even with, like, our media, our anchor people on the news have to pronounce the names properly, and then they do. So
that's right.
That's something they have to do. Also, the incentive of diversity is big here now. That's why you see
the billboards,
the billboards of different shades of
Didn't you
color.
see our?
Didn't you see our billboard?
Look, we live in Samoa, but we're on billboards in New Zealand.
Yeah, but
didn't you know that this is TV1?
But I never came to these thoughts until I went to Samoa and lived there. Because I was there, I didn't worry about the outside world. I mean, the outside world weren't my peripheral
agenda. Peripheral vision.
Yeah, my peripheral vision. So I didn't really see what was going on, because it's just the lifestyle. The lifestyle in Samoa just overtook everything else. That I didn't have here, living here in New Zealand. And when I got back to New Zealand, I sort of, I remember this. I remember how things.
Yeah. Was it hard?
No, it wasn't hard, but it was hard to get back into work mode.
Yeah. True.
Like,
yeah.
It took me a couple of weeks to
adjust
to working hard again. But no, in terms of, like, coming back into social media, coming back into the news, seeing things that happens around the world, like that all was coming back. And then I took a break from all that when I was in Samoa, right? So then I just felt, okay, I was sort of like the guy outside the box looking in again. And then I could see, and I had these thoughts of, okay, there's a lot of things towards our Pacifica people here in New Zealand. It's sort of that I didn't see when I was in Samoa. So it told me that maybe because we're all different islands in one place in Auckland, in New Zealand, we might actually turn into a different culture. Like, I know we have all our
own individual cultures.
Our individual cultures, like, all merged into one. So I was thinking maybe in generations to come, we'll be different. We'll be different. We'll be separated from the islands. Sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's already happened. Shucks. I mean, my nieces are like, they're when they're born and raised in New Zealand, and when they're young, they're like, you're Samoan. They're like, no, I'm not. I'm a New Zealander. Like, it's just they don't see it as like, no, you're Samoan. You were born in New Zealand, but you're Samoan. Like, and they have. And I feel like the youth, when they're young, they have their own culture already because they're brought up this way, and they don't see themselves as the same people as us, like, until they're a little bit older and they understand, those are my roots, and that this is my culture, and this is da 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 da. But I think generally they I feel like they grow up with a different culture altogether here in New Zealand because they have so much diversity and everything else. Yeah, and like Yeah, I hear that all the time. They're like, no, but I'm not Samoan. I'm a New Zealander. Like, no, you are Samoan. You're just born in New Zealand, but you are Samoan. Like, and they finally understand that as they grow up and then, realize that, oh, okay, yeah, that's my identity and da 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 da. But I see where you're coming from, like having, but I that's what I think. I think that culture is already there, like a combined, because it's slightly different. Because it's different. It's different. Samoans and Samoan New Zealanders are completely different. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because when we were young, it was always
think
New Zealand
so.
born, Samoan born.
yeah, that's right.
They're different already.
Yeah, they're different already.
You know, the New Zealand borns go holiday in Samoa and they get beaten up. They don't know why, you know?
They don't know why they do. Yeah, that's
And then they
right.
come back, tell the
okay,
stories, and then everyone's like, oh man.
You shouldn't
don't
have done that. Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. You don't do that over there.
So there's that disconnect already. you know?
True. Yeah. That's right.
And you don't really understand it until you go to Samoa and just,
Yeah.
experience it.
And then
You
I
know-
think as well as that, like, with the, the rules that they have here in New Zealand, like, with discipline, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You know what I mean?
fasa.
Like fasang, fasi, the little, the kids calling cops on their parents and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in Samoa, dude, there is just no calling cops. Like, it's like peanut slap if you're cheeky. Like, it's like discipline, like, and the kids, like they grow up in Samoa, like, with respect. Because, ever since the young, you're taught from young to respect your elders, right?
Yeah.
Where in New Zealand, it's like a different story. I mean, they still have that, right? There's kids that still do that. I'm not saying like they don't, but in a way they grow up and they see this. Because I was once that kid. Like I, grew up in Samoa, and then I came here to New Zealand. And when I grew up in Samoa, I was always, I had to respect my elders, my parents, my anyone that's older than me. I can't talk back. Even though they're right or wrong, I can't, And when I came to school here, it was a different story. Like, I'll go to school, and then you see these kids, like telling their teacher to shut up. Like, I'm like, whoa.
Dude, it just does not happen.
Yeah,
Back in the islands.
like, what the hell was that? Like,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in a way, like, you are right in terms of they have their own, like, when they grow up, like, they kind of lose
Yeah.
contact with the, the...
I mean,
culture back home.
it's all about values, right? And the big,
Yeah, and it
and-
starts in the home. Yeah.
So yeah, if you put your foot down with your kids and you teach
yeah,
them.
that discipline thing, like in Samoa, like that's the only way they know how. I think,
Yeah, they've been brought
And-
up that way.
and it works. And
It works.
It works. And it's just a case of it works. I believe it works. I believe it works.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And
To
bring
an
that to the
extent.
Western
Yeah.
world, they go, what the hell? No, you can't. That's abuse. That's,
Yeah, it's abuse. Well, I mean, and there is abuse.
there is
No,
abuse.
I mean, I always oh my gosh, when you see on New Zealand news where you hear about somebody's been beaten up, their kid and stuff, I'm like, please don't be Samoan. Please don't be Samoan. They're like, yeah, and they're Samoan, and they're like, oh hell no. Like if it's, they're announcing like it's a Pacific Islander who had beaten up somebody, a child, and then, the child, like, I don't know if they, if they passed or whatever, and I'm like just so embarrassed. But so there is that, but then that's generally not taught in the culture. That's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
excessive.
Yeah. It's not like the father comes home and he's drunk and he's mad
Yeah.
because he had a bad day at work
Yeah,
and he beats up the kid because of that.
yeah, that's
But
right.
with that versus you smack your kid because he did something bad.
Yeah,
he did the wrong thing. He
Trying to-
stole. Or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or he disrespected
yeah,
Yeah.
you or
Yeah.
something like that.
yeah.
That's the difference. Like it's a punishment of being.
Yeah, consequences of
Yeah.
doing something wrong.
Yeah. Consequences of doing something wrong. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I think Samoa knows how to do it. Right? Is
Yeah.
it? I mean, and that's the only way they know how.
Yeah.
And that's why you get more respectable. Those kids that grow up being more respectable to their elders.
Yeah.
Because that's a general.
Yeah.
It's general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a general thing.
It is. Went back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and there's a big change there too. To be honest, there's a big
Mm.
change there now. Like, people are a lot more, so much more awareness, and in Samoa
That
about
is so
domestic
right.
violence
Yeah.
and things like that. Because some families, in some places, it's almost the norm. Like, to have like the wife cannot talk back to, like, the wife doesn't have a say.
No,
or like,
yeah, the wife doesn't have a say in the family.
or and then just drama happens or whatever. That I think that happened a lot back then, whereas now it's changed a lot. It has changed a lot, where like there's advertisements,
Women empowerment.
TV, everywhere about
The new Prime Minister.
speak up.
The new, and you know what?
Speak up. You have a say. You have a voice. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot more opportunities where people like Samoa Victim Support Group, where it's a helpline. Because suicide and things like that, like things that are kind of like not really talked about, kind of hush hush back in the days, but now it's like it's all open. It's all come out to open, and people, they're just doing a lot more work in the communities to try and get people aware of that. And so like alternative to excessive discipline. And then like there's a lot more, like I really feel it in Samoa that there's just a lot more of that now, and so things are a lot more better. With youth. There's not as much of the sasa, like sasa,
even sasa now, like it's not like back in those days.
Whereas I feel like it's a lot better. And so Samoa's definitely growing that way. Of course, you're always going to have that because, like you said, it's one of those things that was like they were brought up with it. It was just, and it's this cycle, it's this cycle like, okay, my dad did to me, I'm going to do it to my child. Or like, this is the way I learned, so you're going to learn the same way. It's the know-how. It's the only way they know how. And so now they're starting to see that there are alternatives to, punishment. And that's not necessarily always means you getting a fussy, but that factor makes the difference, because like we hear of people now in New Zealand, like people that we even know of people from other people that like they're so scared to they're scared to like give us, so they're like to them like, oh, what are you gonna do, hit me? I'm just gonna call the cops on you. You hit me, I'll call the cops on you. Like you're saying, they saw them, hey, you're not allowed to go out. They're like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? Like that. And it's because they feel like that mentality, like, no, you're not gonna touch me because the police are gonna I'm just call the cops and get you locked up. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's sad because like then they're just literally running all over you, thinking that they can run all over you. And then I only see it as like, I don't know how I would react in that situation, but and then that person goes homeless, then they get abused, and then you know what I mean, there's that crime factor that comes into it because they need to survive, so they start stealing and crap like that. So I don't know how. I remember hearing one time, and I don't know how back in the days here, that a parent in the mall had grabbed their child by the ear, just the ear, and coso them. I remember, and they got locked up. They got locked up for that. And it's like, there has to be, that's not abuse. Like, that's not abuse. You're like, misbehave, some kind of discipline. Abuse. Like, I feel like that word is chucked around a lot.
Yeah,
too.
and you know
there
what?
was a guy that did that because his kid was on the bike and he was walking. I think it was the father, and he told him not to go on the road. But he went on the road anyway and grabbed him by his ear and pulled it back.
And then
he got in trouble.
Really?
But you know what? It's funny, because like when we come from Samoa, right? And you know how we discipline our kids, like, like, don't do that, like that.
And then you automatically like, hey, don't do that. Like, oh God, like you automatically hit. It's not a big hit, but you automatically do it.
Those ones, like you go to the mall with them, right? and they're like playing up, be like, like those ones. Wow. Yeah. So whereas back home it's like, I went in the shop like, I told you stop it, okay? But here is a different story, like
So in Samoa, it seems to be an outside influence with all this happening, like with the woman thing. It's like the Me Too movement changed.
Yeah,
it is
with women around the world, and
it's good. You know what? Because we've seen a lot of women like lead stuff. There's a lot of women leader now in Samoan. Yeah, because there's just a lot of awareness on
women empowerment,
like to not be quiet, like to stand up and speak up for yourself, and
and just like lifting each other up to try and get to that united cause, whatever it is that you're fighting for and stuff like that, just to get a say out there, because especially in Samoa, like I said, it has come a long way. We're still like, I still got more to go, but like, it was always the men make the decisions.
Yeah.
And the ladies sit back and chillax.
There's
a lot more women matais now. There's women faipules now. Like like you said, our women, prime minister. And like that's already a big deal. Like that's happened, because there was always that mentality that the women make the decisions. The men make the decisions and the women follow. And and out of respect, they've done that for years, and they've always respected the men. Like like, this is what happens, and you come in if the men are speaking. I'll let you whakarikari mai fafo and let the men speak. Whereas now the doors are open, you can actually be a part of that komiki, like in the komiki, because in Samoa they have like the matais, and then they have the komiki of the women's komiki, like and it was always separated, like where the women's komiki go and do like the fundraising for the keunga falisa and like that type of stuff. That's you guys do the keunga falisa, and we're the men that are gonna handle the real business and Whereas now the women are a lot more involved in decision making in Samoa, which which is really good. Like we're like,
and there's a lot of women like Ernie, because that was one of the things that we're women
senior positions.
Yeah, like back, like a lot of women like get beaten up, like abused, because they're not the breadwinner for the family, and like their place is umkuka and stuff like that. And now, like in Samoa, there's a lot of awareness programs. There's a lot of assistance where there's different organizations that are reaching out to the women to try and empower them by creating like
training and giving them ways where they can be income earners as well.
Yeah. Because once they get their jobs, they're able to earn for their families. Then they can make decisions. Like they're the breadwinner, and then of course they have a voice. But if you're like not working, just umukuka and stuff, and then that's So Samoa's slowly coming in. There's a lot of women. There's a lot of programs and organizations that are reaching out to women, and just women empowerment, honestly. And for so long, and I've, if I haven't, we've been going to a lot of trainings where we hear about women empowerment, and, to be honest, it's like, it's been that, like, men always talk down on women, like, and sometimes you don't realize it, but now with what we've learned, like, we can now see it. Like, if someone, like,
you notice it a lot more.
Yes. I notice it a lot more, because we go to these courses and they tell us, like, a man is actually talking down on you if you're saying something, and then you're trying to speak over me,
like they try and cut you off,
and then now we've been taught, like, dude, like, excuse me, like,
let me finish.
Like, so it's funny, like, we back then we thought it was the norms for it, but we've been taught, like, there's a lot of like,
but do it in such a way where you're not, like, gonna piss people off, because then that just
a little bit you have to be a bit political, or
just
like, in a respectful way, but but it happens, and we for the longest time thought it was the norms, but it's not, like, they actually say, so Cams, you better not speak down on us or speak over us.
I think the only thing I'm worried about is the political correctness stuff.
What is it
that's coming through?
The
political correctness. PC. Like, I've always thought for the longest time, if things get really bad with PC in this country, I'm moving to Samoa, because I know over there's no PC at all over there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the culture.
It's just a culture.
And that's all you need.
And because you're already masangi to the culture, so
yeah.
you know what it is, right? How it is.
I don't need this culture to change when we're in here now. So
yeah.
Well, like they say, like, there's no place like home. So, when you're ready to move over,
when you're ready to bring those plans again, we'll go and dig up your plans.
As a still alive.
Use them for our next project.
Yeah. So what's happening next 3 weeks you're here? Or a couple of weeks you guys are here?
Yeah, we got
not
2
this
more
Sunday,
weeks.
but next Sunday we
Other
go
than
back.
going to these food places, you're gonna tick off your list.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, the last time we came to Samoa, like I was amazed at the cafe culture you guys have now. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these cafes opening up.
There's
When I was there,
there's
there was
heaps
heaps.
more
Yeah.
cafes now.
Heaps
Yeah,
more now?
there's heaps more cafes now. And like Rita and I love to go and do our little lives, Facebook lives at the cafes.
No, because
Because then they
promoting,
offer,
promoting,
and then they're like, you guys want to come back and get a free coffee
Yeah.
and
Yeah, just to promote,
so
yeah.
why not? But yeah, there's a lot more cafes
Mhm.
now, and yeah, a lot more places to hang out, food places. We have like the night markets now. We have night markets now
Oh, really?
every week.
Where's
yeah,
that?
I'm sorry, it's
At
once a month. Yeah.
once a month.
Oh, okay.
Where the STA is, and so in the by the government building.
And it's so nice because
That's
that's where
really nice.
all the restaurants and
Oh,
the
Everybody
eatery
have their
places.
For the
booths.
tent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you have music. You have
Yeah,
got
music.
shows and
You
games
have-
for the
Yeah,
kids.
games for the kids.
So it's quite a nice. STA have
something
been doing a lot of work.
Something
Yeah, yeah.
different.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They've been trying to do a lot of work to try and promote places. Like, they've had one recent where like if you go to like 10, what was it, like 10 places you win. 10 destinations, like, and they would like list the destinations on a list, and if you would just need to go and take a picture at one of those destinations. If you got all of them, you won like this massive prize or whatever it is. But a lot of places that we've never even been to, and we live there, like these
Oh, wow.
tourists come and like
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
photos, like, what the heck is that? Like, we don't even know we're living there. Like, because they're doing a lot more awareness, marketing and stuff like that for these people, to try and build up tourism in Samoa. So they're doing a really good
And
job.
especially now, like, with the lockdown and all that, they're trying to, like, reopen places.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because there's an American family that lived in Samoa. They came from Texas, and they had a YouTube channel.
Wait,
Oh, they've
that
gone back.
America-
Yeah, the oh my gosh.
Who are they? Fair Marie or something?
Yeah. It's called. Oh my gosh.
What is it called?
Anyways, I know.
Yeah, them. The
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
the
yeah,
man,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
husband, and
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
Eh,
yeah.
look, Ma,
I know
look,
them
Ma.
really well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my gosh. Now it's gonna really bother me.
Yeah, and
but-
he was going around places
Yeah.
and doing his reviews.
Yeah.
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 That was cool. I'll watch that.
Yeah.
Just to see
Now,
the-
you know what?
So he was a big supporter of Helping Hands.
Oh, yeah.
So he would come and volunteer. They would come and volunteer, and then he would like do shoot a lot of what we were doing. Like he'd go live from where we were at, and then he'd do a lot of interviews and stuff like that. And then even more people started to donate, and then they set up a place where they set up a thing because in the States, what is it called? Venmo. Venmo is another
It's
like
like
a currency, another
where you
transfer
can
place.
transfer money to your
And
phone or something.
yeah, and
Wow,
it's big in the
electronic.
States. And so everybody would they would have a Venmo account or whatever, and where people would send them money, or what they would do is if they wanted to purchase, so they would say, okay, I want to donate,
A care
No.
pack.
yeah, I want to buy 20 care packs, pay for the amount of 20 care packs and 2 boxes of chicken, and so they would go and he would be the one to go and buy all that stuff and then come and deliver it,
Oh,
and
wow.
it'd be like, yeah, hey you guys, this is what you bought, and then it was like that. And so
I saw you guys were on the channel at that
Yeah.
episode.
Jamily TV,
Jamily TV. Yeah,
Jamily
that's right.
TV. Oh my gosh, it's Joe and Alicia Merrick.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. So
Anyways,
big shout out to
yeah.
those guys because I'm sure they're listening in from America right now.
They moved back
Oh,
because Joe got this huge job opportunity and stuff but they loved it in Samoa. So they literally went to so many places and just they loved the experience. The kids loved the experience. They loved going to school there and just having that culture because his mom is Samoan. But in saying that, even his mom was Samoan, but she pretty much grew up. She's lived most of her life in the States, and so it was a big experience for all of them, coming there and doing that. But yeah, Jamily TV, it was pretty good.
It was.
So
'cause I-
now they're gone. They've actually lifted to us to
To
Let's take
continue.
over. Continue the vlog. That's what it was. A vlog.
It was vlog, yeah.
And,
yeah.
I watched it from the start. Like his plan to move the family to Samoa to
Yeah,
experience.
Yeah.
that's right.
When did they sell their house? Or?
So yeah, they sold their house,
Oh yeah.
and so they were packing up. Yeah, they had the whole video of
Yeah.
them packing up and getting ready to move and da da
I
da
saw
da.
them when they were arriving, buying their van.
Yeah,
into
that's right.
Samoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't.
And then even going back,
Mm.
they had to buy a house online. Remember, because of COVID, they had
Oh,
to buy
really?
their house
Oh,
on.
okay.
They couldn't view it. So I saw a video of where then when they first arrived to the house, they're actually first time seeing the house, but they've already paid for it, and so they're finding all this other stuff like, oh gosh, or like, oh dang, there's a da da da, there's a da da da, like the things that they didn't know about of the house. But apparently that's the norm for a lot of places, is that you're buying property online. Like you literally have to like, yeah, it's a virtual tour of the house and whatever, and then you finally see the house after because of the COVID
Yeah.
restrictions. Yeah. So I think Rena and I are gonna be checking out some houses online. So if any of you guys who know are selling,
So what's the house prices like in Samoa these days?
It depends on the area and how big.
yeah, the
Like,
property is.
Yeah.
I think majority of people buy land and build their own places.
Yeah.
There are still properties that sell, but
With houses.
yeah,
Yeah.
majority of people are building
Building.
their own on land.
Because we got a lot of land space. Yeah. So there's a lot of people just buying land and then building onto it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the house prices here are coming down
Is it?
is it?
a little bit.
Oh, that
But
means we
dude,
came in
rent is like. I remember back in the
Expensive.
days when we lived here, rent was like $220 a week. I think it was like the max for like a 4-bedroom house was like $260, $280 a week. Now it's like I was talking to my sister, and she was saying like in Papatoy, she was paying $740 every week, and that was the norm for like how long? And I was like, damn, I didn't know you guys were paying that much. I mean, I knew things were going up, but like, oh my gosh, like 280 to freaking 740 a week. Like, it's crazy here. That's crazy, and that's literally just your rent. Like, that's not even including any utilities and anything. So like, I think there's this mentality from Samoa that people in New Zealand, if you live in New Zealand, and I think that's why everybody's like, they
Calling for money.
depend, like
Yeah.
a lot of families, they depend on their family overseas. They bring their children up they try and educate them enough so that they can move to New Zealand and then thrive there, so that thrive here, so that they can work and then in turn send money to Samoa. And it's like that. And so I'm like thinking, how the hell do these people? How can they manage? Because you have like so much stuff to pay, and then on top of that, you're expected to pitch in for all the falavilaves and then just the normal whakaos and things like that when it's needed. And church.
No, you know what? To be honest, like
the village stuff.
Man, honestly, guys, can you do that? Can you like start sending some money to us, because we're never. I swear, like when it was COVID, when we had the lockdown COVID, like dude, we saw all the banks, the finance places, like, jam packed, all like a lot of people, like, and this is just like everyone's like worried and saying, oh, they all probably got COVID because they're like all standing in line, like all squashing, and we were like, oh, I wish I was standing in that line, like even though
receiving
if it was $20, but at least I could, at least I'm getting something from overseas. But then he said,
lawyer Rina ang kulay lang nga mo like $20 makwapa.
No, it's just I'm saying, like, the support the the families, back home get from the families over here. They're so blessed. They're so lucky, and yet some people take it for granted.
Take for granted that
and they think that
it's not easy
in New Zealand or overseas. Is like, dude, my family overseas is just picking money from the tree, so I'm gonna be calling every week to get
Okay, speaking about money from the trees.
So
what about the RSE workers?
What's that?
Like the overseas what do you call it?
Oh, the ones doing the picking.
Yes.
You know what? That's really helped though.
gosh.
There's like a lot of families.
Yeah, help
really. Like will lift
because
of the money that they're bringing
it back.
They've got taxis. They're building their
houses,
homes,
buying
and all
cars.
that.
Yeah,
So it's really
Faula their fakuanga and stuff like that.
But the downfall of that one is that there's a lot of
we're missing this gap.
Yes,
we're missing everyone from like 20. We're missing people from like 23 to 35. There's this huge gap of the population in Samoa that are all gone. Like it's over, like it's something ridiculous. Like, well, I thought it was like 2,000, 3,000 workers, and Dane was like, "Nah, it's more."
And we have like, so like our workers, like we even have like some of the
like chefs, teachers, you name it. Everybody's
They're gone.
They're all gone because they
here,
earn
like,
more money
you earn
here in
more money than
Australia.
being a teacher or being a
So they're all gone. Like all these people who like normally work like mechanics, like work at
Yeah.
all these different. They're everybody's gapped it. Like
Yeah.
they all gapped it. Even like
Does
to go
the
and earn.
government still have that incentive of if you go to university, they pay for your tuition, but you got to stay in Samoa for a certain amount of years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
scholarships.
if you get
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a bond that they pay for your tuition. You come overseas, get educated, but
But
then
not
you have to go
everyone
back and
does it.
do a certain amount of time.
Mm.
It's just hours. You don't pay it back in money. You pay it back in hours.
Service.
So
Oh, yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
like if you came and you did
and
medical,
serve.
you were in medical school, and then you become a doctor. Then you have to like I
I
think
have
it's
to
like
go back and serve.
2 years or 3 years,
2 years.
yeah, to give back to the country. You still get paid, but it just encourages, like, I mean, fair enough, right? Like, so they go in to help out before they have to do your time working for the government before you can
Like a bond.
do your like a private practice or anything like that. It just like, because the reason why the government's sending them over so that they come back and try and help, like, because we need as many doctors as we can. We need as many scientists and whatnot. So you have to come and like, it's like a bond. So you basically
to
come, you
serve.
do your time to serve, and then after that, when you're finished,
Like
then-
how long
Well,
did
like,
we
yeah,
serve for being a doctor? Like 3 years at Matotua, right?
Yeah, I think we were like really quick because we did over hours.
So what was the time these 20 to 35s leave? Was it before COVID? Or-
Yeah, before COVID,
Oh,
during
It was
COVID.
before COVID.
Wow.
During
Yeah.
COVID, yeah.
Dude, they're leaving like the flights like 200, 300. Like they every time they go. It was like I don't know how many every
Yeah.
month or every.
And then the contracts is like for 3 years.
yeah,
it's
well, it
contract
ranges from 9 months. Yeah,
to-
and then
yeah.
you can keep
extending
extending,
to
and then
up to 3
up
years.
to 3 years.
I
And
don't know
so
if there's more years, but yeah.
and so a lot of people were doing that, taking that option to go
Mm.
and leave their families and go and do that because that's where they're getting their money.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story about that man that was stealing their money?
I
What?
heard.
Oh, that was bad. eh?
He got locked up.
Yeah.
And he's old too.
He's an old guy.
Is he
What
Sa-
was- what
is he
happened? I
Samoan or
missed
what?
it.
He's a Samoan guy. He was
Man.
picking up the guys
Bringing-
from the
From
airport, take them down to Hastings
Where they work.
I heard
Where they
it.
work.
Was he doing it for years or something?
And he's supposed to get their pay or something and give them their pay, but he would keep
Yeah,
it.
but
or
he'll
something?
keep it.
Keep all of it?
Yeah.
Or some of it.
I think all of it.
Oh.
Or yeah,
And for how long was he doing that?
and he kept them in, slept in his house or something. But it was like they called him a slave. It was slavery.
Oh.
That's what he got charged
Oh
for.
my gosh.
He got charged for slavery.
Yeah, because then
that's
he'd
so
make them work and he was
sad.
keeping all their
Yeah.
money.
So it was like,
Ia wa whekawia, wa
Mm.
makela ia, e se iloka koe mga ia ia.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's
Like,
what you call literally ayafu.
Yeah, no. It's the thing is that these people leave their families and,
Yeah,
and they come
and they
to-
don't know better.
so
They don't
emang
know
we
any
are-
better.
eh, may so emang we ang musila. But then if this is the case, they come here and freaking someone is like pocketing their like hard, and then
And they're probably
sending
threatened,
peanuts.
like-
So what do they send you back home?
They probably threaten like, yeah, if because we have to pay all of these things, and then they stay on and keep
I think
working.
it was like when they go back after the contract. Then
Then he's
he'll
supposed to
give the
get the
money.
money.
But I think he didn't. Well, I don't know. That's
yeah.
sickening. I didn't hear the
Oh,
whole
that
story.
sucks.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so sad.
And then you hear about the ones that come here and then they get sent back because they fight olua.
Yeah,
get
like the
pregnant.
yeah, those ones. Yeah.
And
You
they
know.
fusu and they ingu
And they
because they're not
ingu.
allowed, and
No,
so
'cause
they
we
get
heard
they
that
get
there was a lot of
taken
them.
back.
That got deported back because of the bad behavior.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
but it's so sad because then they just miss it up for those.
Yeah, all
that
the
are-
other ones
all the
who
ones that are
missed
trying
out. Yeah, trying to apply it, and then
apply for
so
it.
it's actually on hold now. I think loka hofi
It's
umaa.
I don't know.
No,
don't
I
know.
think they've
Oh.
kaofied it. The new ones. They're still for a while, like everybody else
Yeah.
is still on. But I think like for the new lot that we're supposed to go, because remember Twin is on, he's been waiting, and apparently they've put a hold on it. It's like bad luck for everyone else because of these guys that ruin it.
Yeah.
Well, when COVID happened, there was no one coming over, right? So,
No, there was.
but there was not enough.
Yeah, not
not
enough.
enough because of.
So they were
yeah.
calling for normal people, like
The locals.
locals or people from Auckland, Wellington, to come down and
Yeah,
work, and they were
yeah.
like gonna offer like
More.
ridiculous pay,
Like
And they
more
didn't want to
than-
do it.
like more. because they couldn't get anyone.
Yeah, but I heard they didn't want to do
But
it.
no one wants to come down to it.
No one wanted to do that work. And then
I think
people
it
were
was $75
complaining.
an hour or something.
No, I remember watching on the news. I don't really watch the news, but anyways, one time I watched the news where they had like the wineries over here, like the winery companies.
Oh, yeah.
And they couldn't find people, and then they're trying to they've maxed the amount that they can offer people, including like trying to offer them packages, incentives for them to come and work. And they still couldn't find anybody. And yet they were complaining. They're complaining about not having jobs. And they're saying that like all the islanders or whatever, they're taking all the jobs. But then nobody was taking their jobs. And they're saying that it was really hard because they couldn't afford to go any higher. Like, why do pisingisi? Like, if they keep offering more, then what's the point? Like, you know?
So what's up with that? Like, so you guys have New Zealand has a whole lot of unemployment, a high unemployment rate, or is everyone
low.
like up in?
Our unemployment rate is low right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so
good.
that you guys got a lot of jobs just to offer, but not enough people, not enough.
No,
workforce.
I think no. It's the type of jobs. It's not the fact that people are not working, but I think those type of jobs, they
Not
people
interested?
were like looking past it.
See, in my industry is different because in my industry there's not enough people, and jobs.
Oh,
need
what
people.
is your industry? Because we can apply if this.
Yeah, because you can't get experienced people. You can only get people straight out of the university these days.
Ah.
But we need
need more.
experienced people.
Yeah.
It's like a hustle. But
Well,
Wow. We touched a lot of.
I think we're
subjects
like
tonight.
come full circle. Like, I don't even know how we managed to get on like charity, recycling, a little bit of politics, culture,
Women empowerment.
women empowerment,
food.
discipline, like, you know, food, all kinds of stuff. So I think we did pretty well.
Man. What's another? What else did we didn't cover?
What else didn't we cover?
Have you guys been to Bai yet?
No.
Yeah, we did.
Well.
Shania took us to town.
Oh yeah.
To this
We tried out
shisha
that-
place called
Shisha.
What's that?
Arby's.
Arby's. What's that?
By the viaduct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's so cool. That was the first time we,
Slowly,
Man, I haven't been there in ages.
that was the first time we actually, tried.
we were like, hanging out on the viaduct and like, trying to like remember back in the days, the old stomping grounds and like, just really feeling overage. Where you're thinking back in time. The last time I was here was like probably like 20 years ago, and then anyways, yeah, it was good to go have a little kafao and experience something a little bit different. We did also go to the casino for like
5
10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes?
And then
5
like,
minutes.
Rena's like, okay, should we invest? I'm like, no. She's like, come on, we got to invest $10. Like, no, we're not giving our $10 away. And then I'm like, okay, you got $5. So Rena goes with the $5. She's like trying to pick her machine. Okay, which one is the lucky machine? Which one's the lucky machine? Because we were just there to pick up the lumukua. Like we weren't intending on staying. Anyway, she goes, puts in her $5, and then literally straight away she gets these free spins. It's like the things are like, singing and the money's like coming up and blah blah. She's like, guys. So we're all excited. Like we're like, oh my gosh, and we're all sitting there watching her. And then it's like she got her free spin. I think it went all the way up to like almost $40. And we're like, me, Shania are like, take it out. And she's like, no, don't worry. It's feeling lucky. And of course, at the end of the day, the machine always wins. And so we could have walked out with like $35 profit, but instead we donated the $5 to the casino. But it was exciting while it lasted.
It was like,
Yeah, and then we came
because
home.
remember we haven't been in the casino for 3 years, like
For ages.
What about casino in Samoa? Like, there's no tourists, so
And
they have to
she
close
said
it.
we didn't have money to go into the casino.
No, casino you have to have
we have a casino
we
in Samoa. You have to have a
do
foreign
have-
passport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
to
do
go.
have foreign
And it's still
passport.
going.
Yeah.
There's quite a few like. Yeah, it's still open.
Yeah.
Only the one in
Open.
town, at Sheraton in town, the casino's still open. and then it's majority of like the Indians, Asians, and stuff like that that are. I mean, there's some other locals as well, but it's not as before. Like before all the lockdown and stuff happened, it sort of was like the place to be. Like you go clubbing, 12 o'clock close down, and then go to casino, hang out because it closes at 3. And so it was like the hangout spot. But then like COVID happened and all this stuff happened, and so it kind of it just sort of faded out a little bit. But those people still going kafal over there. And then we walked into the casino over here, and like Shania's like, "Did you guys bring your IDs?" I'm like, "Really? They're gonna ID us?"
And guess what they did?
And
we're like,
she's such a liar. They didn't even ID us. And I'm like, okay, now I feel a little bit offended. They didn't ID me. It's like the guy was like looking, like Rita and I walking in the front. The guy's like, see, I can see him. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna ask me for my ID, really? And then he's looking straight at Shania. Can I see your ID? We're like, okay, fine, just keep on walking. But yeah, it seems to be like the exact same thing.
I mean, Pack and Save is still yellow.
And Pack and Save is still yellow. And you know what else has changed? Like that I was so surprised and I was like thankful for, because we had to drive to the city, which we never like to drive. Wow. Is that the speed limit's dropped right down.
Is it?
To 40.
To 40. It's 40 everywhere in the city. And
really?
Even in some places it's 30.
And one lane, I guess. One lane in some places.
Yeah, no, like everywhere
40.
in the city is 40. You have to get speed limit, which is really good.
We went to the city on the first or second day that we were here.
Second day.
Dude, even at 40, I was going like
I said to her,
it was so
you're
bad.
gonna drive then. You're gonna drive because I don't want to drive. I don't like driving in the city because it's like you know it's busy. There's so many one-way streets. Like, you know what I mean. I don't want to end up in a one-way street like, you know, not Masangi. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna drive.
Google map on.
Oh, that's a Wellington. A lot of one-way streets in Wellington.
Yeah, well, same thing. It's speed limit's gone down. So apparently, it just went down recently. Dude, you know what? Everybody that I've asked when the speed limit changed, nobody even knew that it changed. Goes to show how often you go to city. Yeah. But anyway, it's changed, and apparently because a lot of pedestrians were getting hit, and so they've cut it right down, which was really good for us because we're trying to find our way, you know, as we're going. But like even at 40, Rena was like driving us, and I said to her, "Dude,
the Google map thingy was saying."
Turn left.
Turn left. And I was like,
and she's like,
oh my gosh. What if I turn left and the car's coming?
I'm like, just listen to her.
It was
you know what
so
happened?
bad,
We came back. I said, Rena, just pull over. I'm going to drive. But anyways, so see, something that you didn't know.
No, don't get me started on Auckland City, because what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to take cars away from the city.
So that's why they have the scooters everywhere, and then they're doing the metro.
We have yet to hit those. You
guys doing that too?
We're going to be doing the scooters. It's definitely on our list. Scooters.
We have to, because we've never been.
Oh, the scooters.
The scooters that everybody's like buzzing around in the city.
No, you know what? Umalan ma story nga le thingy. Oh no, I'm not gonna say that story.
Next.
No, go ahead.
So they're trying to take cars away from the city. So they've put every street has a meter now. They had it before, but the price has gone up. Price has gone up, and they're gonna extend it. So 10 o'clock now is
the time,
because it used to finish at 6, but now it's up to 10 o'clock.
Damn,
like 10 o'clock at night.
You gotta pay, So
yeah.
And they're taking away the car parks, some car parks, and putting in a cycle lane.
Oh yeah.
So they're trying to bring more bikes.
More bikes in.
People use bikes and take away the cars.
And fair enough, because of of course, climate change.
Climate change, yeah. So because of that,
the emissions and whatnot. So that's what some of the like the good thing about Zoom and stuff, like less people traveling through, you know, overseas and stuff like that. So I think it's all got to do with climate change.
I think, yeah. I think there's an argument that says, you know, to do a lot of work on climate change, you're going to make the poor richer.
Yeah.
Because it's all about priorities, right? So the poor, they don't care about climate change because they're worried about surviving. Yeah. So the last thing they want to do is save gas, because they need gas to go to work.
They need
So
But before that, we all used to catch the bus, or not everyone had a car. But now it's just like, it's literally everyone has a,
Yeah,
it
they
literally has
suck you in with these really good rates. I see, like, we drive past all the car yards. Like, there's so many car sales place.
Like back then,
And
like
you see, it's like, man, all the cheap prices for the cars here, and you're like thinking, and with the what do you call it, the payments that they do, and I'm just thinking, damn, man,
finance.
Yeah, the finance. They suck you in, man. Like, man, the deals sound really sweet, eh? So everybody's like, oh, get a car. Like, I think everybody has a car. Like, today we bumped into one of our friends in the mall.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, when did you guys come? She's like, come over, we'll shout you for dinner. And before we went to the mall, we were like, man, we always meet up with people that we know over here. And then anyways, we were there, and we met up with her on our way out, and she's like, I got a spare car if you want to use our car. And we're like, oh yeah, I got a car. She got a car too. Like, which is like, everybody has spare cars. That's why we're able to be out and about. But we're like, damn, everybody's got all these cars.
Yeah.
And it's because, they offer all these sweet deals of financing.
Yeah, look, there's like 4 cars out there.
Well, see?
But when Samoa changed from left hand to right,
Right.
Yeah.
like there must have been heaps of cars like getting trashed, right?
No, they're
they're
still
there.
using some of them.
It's just the value.
Oh, the value gone down.
Yeah.
The left-hand drive. I don't want to value on the right-hand drive. Yeah.
So in terms of recycling cars, like what happens there?
Oh,
She
in
takes
terms
them.
of
Break them down
to
and-
break
Yeah.
them down 4 pieces, cut them, and then bale them, and then ship them out.
Okay.
So those are those are the more valuable waste.
Yeah.
So
Kind of
that's
valuable.
those are the valuable waste that the private sector take,
Oh, okay.
and it's the problematic waste that was basically low value, like unwanted, like nobody touches that waste. That's what was going over there. So those are the stuff that they're trying to do. But yeah, that one you get there's value in it. Yeah.
Sweet ladies, we've done
4 hours.
We've done-
3 hours.
Oh my gosh, really? Like,
We
honestly,
made it. We made it.
I could start feeling that. I don't know if you noticed, I put my jacket back on because I could feel the cold coming through. I'm like, surely our hour and a half is up. But then we doubled it. Damn, Cams, does that mean that we were interesting? Our interview?
What do you think?
Hell yeah.
You didn't give
Hell
me us
yeah.
after an hour?
Look, we made it to the limit.
Oh, far out. All right, sounds good.
For our first 3 hours in 2022, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
could have went on.
Oh my gosh.
That was great having you guys. Like, it's good to catch up again.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
So interesting about the recycling stuff and what you do for the charity and that.
Yeah,
What's it called?
helping
Hands.
Yeah.
Helping
That's
Hands.
awesome. And
Yeah.
hope that continues on, the Helping Hands stuff. It is
Yeah,
there
yeah.
It
It's
is.
still going. Yeah,
for the next
Still going.
mission.
Yeah. So
Yes.
when you wanna donate, just feel free to.
yeah. Anyone contacts you, then you say, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll hook you up. Put us
So,
in contact.
But before we end this, can you just tell everybody where they can find you for more information?
Oh yes. So you can find us definitely on social media. Yeah, for recycling, we have Instagram page, SRWMA_18. For our Facebook page is Samoa Recycling Waste Management Association. You can contact us on email, recycle@SRWMA, SRWMA.ws. And phone number +685 33080, just in case you want to give us a call and
And where they can find Helping Hands.
Helping Hands is, we have our Facebook page as well, Helping Hands Samoa, and then email address is the same thing. So Helping Hands Samoa, so there's 2 S's, Helping Hands with the S.
The Helping Hands or
No,
Helping
just
Hands?
Helping Hands Samoa at gmail.com. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Chitcher.
Thanks.
That was good.